See, before I draw the line, let me welcome you close to all the folks who knew Obama sold the people a hoax. Gave the money to suckers while our community's still poor. Withdrew the troops but started another war. Colonizing, terrorizing, creating the oil crisis so they can make a killing on food and gas prices. Prisons is filling, they trying to lock up the future. Militarized borders and control of computers. Want a stupid bumping music that ain't healthy for the shortest. Privatizing schools and policemen in the hallways. Can't be dormant, I'm awoke and rise up, be ready. Brought the family with us and we hold the machetes.
Riding the fence, riding the fence. Too many people be riding the fence. Yeah, you say you ready for war, but are you convinced? I'm not convinced. If you're a rider, freedom fighter, crowd excited, then let's do this. We can make one big united, middle finger to the U.S. Give me the bravest and the truest. Fuck the hippest and the coolest. We gon' spark this revolution and cross this off our to-do list. Put your foot down if you look down on this criminal system. Put your book down and get shook down like my niggas in prison. Don't be condemning and condoning their actions in one sentence. Make up your mind, choose your side. Is you a patriot or a menace to society? So riot or sit by quietly. But don't pull out your flag and try to say you gon' ride with me. You flip-flopping like hip-hop. I don't get locked in that trick box. Get got like Big and Pop. Shit's got to stop. I am the people, not the pig. I repeat after Fred. So please blow my brains out if I ever forget.
I'm with the independent thinkers. I'm down with the movers and the shakers and the ex-Henny drinkers, the non-smokers, the health advocates, the non-voters, the young bloods in the hood training like soldiers. I'm on the side of the tracks with the hood gardens, the little child that don't color inside the margins. I don't ride the fence, I cultivate my strength, cause if it ain't about power, it don't make sense. I've been down with Boogie Down since BDP, some brown pride, and black power make RBG. A OG told me choose battles wisely. In the struggle, don't forget your children and your wifey. If you don't see me on the podium preaching it, every day I hope my every action is teaching it. Cause revolution is a process, it's not a speech or a panel. Don't bite off more than you can handle.
Slingshots in Palestina, con todos los estudiantes por educación gratuita. I'm with workers uprising and the right to unionize. We ain't crossed the border, so you better legalize. I'm with La Peña del Bronx. I'm still with Victor Toro, cause gentrification is polluting my borough. So bro, never. South Bronx forever. Decolonize the block, make your neighborhood better. I ain't down with the rich, I'm more Richie Perez. Don't talk to grand juries or cooperate with feds. I'm with students, doctors, janitors, teachers. We need living wages, but they don't believe us. Monida, Barretto, Spofford, Hunts Point, my hood, I love. We join forces, forming our deck, BX. Taking over buildings, rebel Diaz for the children.
Politics to sickness, streets express symptoms. Caught up with it quickness, big business pimps them. Scholars play the simpleton, fools play with wisdom. Who will stand and fight back? Who will play the victim? Trials and tribulations, injured generations. Stolen history and outsourced innovation. Babel Tower fell, tribes are at war. The battle story's not represented in the score. The game's fixed, most of the faces and names switched. Credit stolen for art, science, religion, language, technology, philosophy, and what strange is. They paid in hatred for the knowledge of the ancients. Power in words, actions, guns, swords. Aim Panthers, brown berets, young lords. Pick a side, one sickness, one cure, one love, one blood, one world, but one war.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. We know the air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad.
Hypnotized by a spreading viral syndrome, sitting silent in a cyber prison. Eyes got spinning spirals in them. We spinning our lives, pretending, idolizing, idol singing. Work the simple-minded jerks, jerking off at the sight of women. Someone's behind it, making the most of it. Raping your soul, sonny, they've made you a slow puppet. Enslaved the globe with paper, causing calm and sick behavior. They divide you, make your plight constantly quarrel with your neighbor. You make me wanna wake you, shout, shake you out your bed, slap you back to reality, pound you, break your drowsy head. With the black, brown, white, yellow, or blue, whether you Jew, Christian, Muslim, man, or woman, natural, feminist. Don't forget your hatred and beef scale straight, relate evenly. We can blatantly see we're all getting raped equally. People should be eager to put their forces together. The more the better. Forget your pain, y'all important and clever. This a red run, you're not a little breadcrumb. Lift your head, son, cause you're a fucking living legend. You're not a zombie, hundo knob and they numb. Yeah, you're not a statistic, nah, not an anonymous number. Human knowledge, wonder mind, body and soul. Flip big brother the bird, cause he's not in control. No, strike the power, time to be sour. Pile up cowards, cadavers after dragging about the Ivory Tower. Blah.
I don't want you to protest, I don't want you to riot, I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. 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 You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. Get mad. 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 Get mad.
Now if you want higher wages, I tell you what to do. You gotta talk to the workers in the shop with you. You gotta build you a union and make it strong. Yeah, if we all stick together, it won't be long. We'll get shorter hours, better working conditions, vacations with pay. Yeah, we can go to the seashore. It ain't quite this simple. I better explain just why you got to ride on the union train. Cause if you wait for the boss to raise your pay, yeah, we'll all be awaiting till the judgment day. Yeah, we'll all be buried and gone to the heavens. And old St. Peter, he'll be the strong boss then. Now you know you're underpaid. That boss says, no way. They speed up the work till you're about to faint. You'll be down and out, but you ain't beaten. You can pass out a leaflet and call a meeting. You can talk it over and speak your mind and decide to do something about it. Yeah, you got a union now and you're sitting pretty. Put some of the kids on the steering committee. The boss won't listen when one guy squawks, but yeah, they gotta listen when the union talks. Oh, they're gonna be so lonely when the union decides to walk on them. Suppose they're working you so hard, it's was just outrageous. And now they're paying you starvation wages. You step up to the boss would yell, before I raise your pay, I'll see you all in hell. Not a puffin' a cigar and feeling mighty slay. 'Cause now they think they got your union licked. Well, they look out the window, what do they see? But 1,000 pickets held by you and me. Oh, now, baby, is the hardest time. The boss will try to bust your picket line. They'll call the police. They'll call the National Guard. And they tell you it's a crime to have a union card. Amazon labor union, here's what they found. Starbucks workers united, here's what they found. Amazon labor union, here's what they found. Starbucks workers united, here's what they found. You'll win, take it easy. You'll win, take it easy. You'll win, take it easy. You'll win.
Here's a PSA.
Sometimes it's A-okay.
To take bottled water from major grocery chains. Self-checkout is a wonderland that heals your heart.
When you keep secrets at the bottom of your shopping cart.
When it's ignored by the bored teenager in a vest.
His name is Tyler, he's a senior and he's the best.
You would agree that sometimes
You've gotta steal from corporations. It's your civil obligation. Theft isn't polite.
But water's kinda
And
tight.
if you get caught, just use the powers of persuasion.
Oh my god, I'm sorry. I didn't even remember that I put those down there. I'm sorry. And my groceries were covering it all up. What's that? Do you want to see my receipt? I'm sorry. I actually can't.
What was that?
I thought it was a yummy saltine cracker.
Wake up and I'm covered in sweat. 9/11 Benghazi, I will never forget. No more Pledge of Allegiance in movie theaters. Hillary and Obama lied and said no one cares. They banning Jesus in our schools. What do they believe? That we're a nation of fools. Our cops, they love the Bible, they read it on every shift. I refuse to not eat only Trump steaks to trigger the lips. Brave troops, mighty big and strong. Not for us and so we'll sing this song. AOC wants to ban SUVs. Beautiful policies of liberty. We should kiss America. We should kiss the home of bread. We should kiss the President Trump on his lips every God bless day. We should kiss our flag with gum. We should lick police and guns. It's America and she's only got one wish. To be kissed on her supple lips. To McDonald's I just wanted to eat. Overheard an employee say freedom is free. I said no, you're wrong. Freedom has a real big cost. You are unpatriotic. I'd like to speak to your boss. The high schools are giving soy milk to all of the teens. They want a nation too scared to stand up for boiled beans. Antifa is stealing our jobs and economy. Ride the Trump train to November, dated 2020. The flag has stripes and the flag has stars. Tucker Carlson should build the flag. President number 45. He gives us life so we can be alive. We should kiss America. We should kiss the home of bread. We should kiss the President Trump on his lips every God bless day. We should refuse to kiss deep state, but we should kiss our troops
it's Hot Dad here. Thanks a lot for watching. If you like what I'm making, blast that subscribe button, smash the share, slam those social media links, mangle some merch, or consider supporting me on Patreon. I love you. Have a great day.
Have a great night.
Have a great life.
I'm so sick of the bullshit. We've been down this freaking road so many times. Oh, exquisite monotony. Tell me, is this the definition of insanity? I expected different results. Now I'm trapped because I'm broke, forever in debt. And some rich guy in a private plane is gonna kill me. He's got hair plugs and a cock spaceship. He's gonna kill me. Billionaires are dorks. I said it. Y'all are freaking nerds. You got a real bad need to be cool. They're draining every well, only care about themselves. As far as I can tell, yeah. Justice overruled. You faked your way in school. You move up like a fool, yeah. I'm so tired of screaming from every mountaintop about what's the problem. Oh, is anyone listening? Tell me, is this the definition of insanity? I expected different results. Now I'm trapped because I'm broke, forever in debt. And some rich girl in a private plane is gonna kill me. She's got a fake ass and a lucrative brand. She's gonna kill me. Billionaires are dorks. I said it, yeah. Y'all are freaking nerds. You got a real bad need to be cool. They're draining every well, only care about themselves. As far as I can tell, yeah. Justice overruled. You faked your way in school. You move up like a fool, yeah.
Welcome to Real InfoWars. We're proud to introduce to you our official mascot, the InfoWars elf. He's made of cartoon. I drew him myself. Well, I stayed up all night drawing, and I put it in the computer, and I wrote this entire song. And I got an email from corporate that said the InfoWars elf is not a direction they're interested in exploring. Forget that I mentioned the InfoWars elf, a swing and a miss. The headline is this: Welcome to Real InfoWars. The InfoWars elf was ahead of its time. Let's move past this moment and into the light. Welcome to the Real InfoWars.
New InfoWars. All right, everybody. I'm here. Wow. Welcome to the Central Committee stream with your host, Mike from PA. We are live once again.
The wind chick.
Well, what can I say? Interesting weekend. I've been sick. I still am a little bit sick. Vio gave me the illness right as my stream, right as I was midstream on Friday, started to kick in. And then I was sick the whole weekend. And now it's just starting to tail off. But I'm still a little sick. Good morning, Mike. Went to the Fear Ed show last night, and it was a blast. If you are on the fence about going to LA show this weekend, you should definitely go. You don't think that I am invited to the Fear Ed show? Of course I'm invited to the Fear Ed show. What the fuck? Honestly, if I'm being honest with you guys, Vio is invited, and I am Vio's +1. That's really how it works around here. By the way, if you don't like vertical stream, you can turn it off. I might add that as text. Technicalities. Yeah, exactly. Mention the pre-show, but take Vio to see the new Looney Tunes movie, Coyote vs. Acme, next week. Shockingly anti-capitalist, pro-working class, and the drama works. Very funny, no hyperbole. It's pro-Luigi by the... Oh. Anyway, welcome on in. A lot to talk about today. The first is we are carrying the flame. Now, I gotta tell you, chat, I think that the way that people are freaking out over Hassan over the Charlie Kirk and 9/11 stuff is why we're gonna win. It's remarkably similar to the freak out over Trump, and it doesn't work for normies. In fact, I think it's helping us win. I've talked about this before, and I might want to make a video discussing it. I don't know that anyone would ever watch it, but the idea behind it, it's good to have the video just so I could say it's my idea of the future, when everybody steals it. But basically, what I call downscale non-evangelical whites. I've been talking, if you've been watching my stream for a long time, you know about that kind of category of voter. They really liked Obama, and then they really liked Trump. I would call them the Howard Stern listeners before he became a dedicated public Zionist in everything in all ways, right? When Howard Stern was on terrestrial radio, the people that would listen to that guy's show at work were largely Democrats, okay? Or at least Democrat leaning. And it was until, I feel like that's the real swing voter in America. They're non-ideological, but they have a lot of like left-wing populist takes. But maybe they have some idiosyncratic, culturally conservative takes, like they like guns or they go to church or whatever. But those people were largely left-leaning, and they voted for Obama overwhelmingly. And Donald Trump has just cleaned up with them. But they're the type of people that laugh at Charlie Kirk memes or even 9/11 jokes. Like if you go to a comedy club, they're making those jokes, okay? Which means normies are not offended by that shit. Of course they're not. 9/11 was 25 years ago, okay? People working on their PhDs were born after 9/11. Let's stop pretending that this is some sort of like fresh wound, okay? It's ridiculous. It's like, how dare you mock 9/11? I'm also, this is medicine chat. Oh, God. Good morning, Mike. If you're open to looking at another race, Ben McAdams is running in the general for Illinois State Senate. Yes. I want to do a general election DSA roundup for sure. People are like, medicine. You guys don't know the secrets of boomer medicine. The secrets of Alka-Seltzer, cold, and flu medicine. You guys are just not ready for it. Alka-Seltzer is lost tech. Yeah, it is. You guys didn't get that shit. And the thing about it is, it's like, it dissolves in your glass, so it's like pre-dissolved, so it hits faster. You got to hit that Alka-Seltzer cold and flu. Y'all didn't get that Alka-Seltzer memo. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, what else happened? The Gremlo Asmongold Alliance took their second stage of alignment. They have successfully I guess they got it promoted enough so that Asmongold would watch it and support it, which was always their goal, sort of like last time, except nobody gives a shit. because everybody knows it's ridiculous. And again, I just want you to understand something. I'm gonna be around forever. Like, I'm not going anywhere. And everybody who wants to, who, you know, is on the left with a scrappy campaign, who, you know, will want to be on my show. It's just the way it goes. So by fucking with me more, you're only making me hate you more. I mean, that's really all it is. Like, what do you want me to say? I just want people to work together for socialism, you know? And that also means not interfering with our electoral work, you dumb fuck. No, you're not. The Grim Reaper comes for us. Well, yeah, true. We're all dead. We're all gonna be dead one day. Yeah, the Roach Man. The Roach Man, you know, it was very funny because he's also abandoning Israel, I guess. I guess he started abandoning Israel, which is very funny. So let's check that out. Excuse me, sorry, chat. I didn't see that cough coming. That caught me by surprise. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. Is the Asmongold, you know, he loves Israel, and now the approval ratings are so low, he got ordered to have a different opinion on Israel. So now I guess he has the complete opposite opinion of what he used to have. I guess the checks bounced.
An American citizen. I don't want Israel involved in my politics. I don't care about Israel. I don't care who's bombing terrorists. I want terrorists to get bombed. This is the problem that people like Hassan have, is that they reframe all criticism.
Okay, so let's imagine that you are a Christian living in Bethlehem, and you are having your home stolen from you by Israel. What does that have to do with terrorism? But you supported that, you fucking rat. So anybody, you know, who gets attacked in such a manner is going to fight back.
Of terrorism to criticism of Israel, but they don't understand that I think a lot of us feel the way that, like, we don't like Israel and we don't like the terrorists. We don't like either one of them. Like, if both of these sides...
You can tell he's like 5 IQ because he says the terrorists. Like that means something. Terrorism is a tactic. There is no such thing as the terrorists. Uh-oh. Yo. All right, hold on, chat. Let me text VO real quick. I gotta text VO real quick because Sticks is coughing. Anyway, he seems okay. Maybe he was hairballing? I don't know. He's all right. I can see him right there. He's fine. He just coughed though. I was like, what the hell was that? Yeah, they do that. Professor Dave equals lion. Hold on. God, why can I not click on anything? There you go. Puppy, thank you for the 10 gifties that became 12 because we have a vertical stream. Wow.
Hey everyone, it's been a minute since I dropped this.
Everything is crumbling for Destiny at Pangburn. 2 hours and 43 minutes. I have, for the love of God, the unbelievable nature of the length of this shit. I guess I could play this and just do a deep clean of my entire home while this is on the background, because that's the only fucking way I'm ever would be able to listen to this, as if it was in my ear as I did at literally anything else. To be frank, you yap for many hours almost daily. Yeah, but I'd switch up the stories and we have a dialogue. I couldn't yap at the camera with no input for 3 fucking hours. Then that's insane. I'm having a dialogue. I'm looking at different stories. We're reacting to new events. We're providing a conversation. Just like, I'm going to talk about Destiny for 2 hours and 43 minutes on my own. That's so much. I'm not saying it's not good. I'm just saying, what? I can't. Here's what I would suggest. Can we get some, I don't know, chapters or anything to break this up into something that I could promote and consume? Or clips or anything? It's just, no, it's 2 hours and 43 minutes. No chapter markers. Jesus Christ. And it doesn't seem like anything is loading as far as most watched or whatever. I'd rather go watch the Odyssey, which I had a 76 millimeter ticket. I'm sorry, 70 millimeter, not 76 millimeter. I don't know why I said 76. 70 millimeter ticket. But I had to miss it because I had the flu. And I'm so mad. Actually, VO had the flu. Then she gave it to me. 6-7 millimeter. Yeah, I know. My brain has now been rotten. Anyway, Okay. Where is the old Asmongold clip? It's all right. I thought this was the old Asmongold clip, but it's not. This is the old Asmongold clip. Let's start out with Asmongold's hypocrisy. Okay, this is him talking. All right, hold on. We've got chat. It's about to happen. Donald Trump is going to mention Hassan. It's going to happen. The Brain Domain has resubscribed for 37 months. Wow. Welcome back, brother. Have you been playing the newest version of Project Zomboid? Chat, I've been dicking around on my own solo a little bit in the Zomboid. And how do I put this? It's too realistic. What I mean by that is there's too much stuff everywhere. I might need to turn up the difficulty. I might have to turn up like the I might have to turn down the spawn, the loot rarity. I might have to do something like that because there's just so much stuff. Oh yeah, there's one really big new. They added like very large trees and they don't really clip correctly, so they like block your vision, and it's actually pretty bad. That is a pretty bad bug. I'm not gonna lie. I was on Project Zomboid last night. Opened a door at a gas station, got overrun by zomboids immediately. Yeah, that happens sometimes. What do you mean? That's like day one learning the game. You can't open doors without making noise or being prepared to knock them back. It's a sudden outbreak, so it's normal for people to leave things behind in a rush. Yeah. Not to spoil too much Zomboid lore, but there is the virus or whatever agent is causing people to become zombies. Initially is only transmitted via bites and blood, and then it mutates and becomes airborne, and everybody catches it like super fast, and only people that were immune to the airborne strain are alive. What's the obsession with zombies? We can get into it, but it's an anti-capitalist story. And Project Zomboid is just a game that's been in development for like 12 years. And I consider Project Zomboid, I'm going to say one of my hot takes. This is what video game development would look like under socialism. And before everybody's mad because it's been under development for so long. Basically, you just have creators who are making something they want to make. They have their own vision and they're just slowly circling it. And they just make it forever and ever and ever. Dwarf Fortress is the same shit. I've been annoyed by the long dev time. I don't really consider, I think that is capitalism brain. I think if you look at a video game and you're like, I want a final version, blah, 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 blah. That's a little bit capitalism brain, where you're like, I'm a consumer and this is a product and it must be alienated and it must have an end date. And it's like, no, it's a piece of art and you are experiencing the art at this stage, And the reason why you're mad is because you've given money. And so you want to get your commodity back. And you can't appreciate, what's happening in front of you because of the alienation of capital. Whereas with Zomboid, I'm sorry. I played that game way more than like most games I've paid a lot. It's like $20 and I paid it for 100 hours or something. More than that. And it has so much depth. It's insane. They've got, I don't even want to get into it, but I think Project Zomboid may be one of the most impressive games that a small indie development studio has ever made, as it is now. It's insane. The depth is infinite. I never oh my God, I guess you just don't like zombie games. Did I ever play Left 4 Dead? Of course. The attention to detail of PZ is yes, it's batshit. I really want to play Zomboid, but not always alone. Does it have a central community server? Not currently. Whenever a new version of the game comes out, I like to play the solo version because I feel like, and I'm speaking for myself here, I feel part of the experience is, one, the sleeping mechanic, which is not part of the multiplayer version for a variety of obvious reasons, right? So fatigue and sleeping are very important parts of the game that is not part of the multiplayer. And then second, and this is just my take, I think the isolation of being alone is also kind of part of the fun, right? Sometimes. Not saying I don't love multiplayer. I'm just saying that in a new version of the game, I like to just be alone and die. Anyway, let's keep going. What was I saying? Okay, let's go. Let's talk about Asmongold. I was stalling to try to get the original Asmongold link of him talking about, like, basically repeating Israel's talking points, but apparently I wasn't explicit enough. So let me just find it real quick. I think I tweeted it recently. I want to say I liked it. Oh, can I not see my own likes anymore? Wait, did they remove your own likes? Huh? Whoa, that sucks. That sucks. I don't like that. That's an unnecessary UI change. All right. So this is Asmongold talking about Israel like, I don't know, a couple months ago during Pride Month. How do I know? Because he wore that same shirt for the entire month.
They want to use these people as human shields, get people killed for international clout.
When they use civilians as human shields, they're the ones who are responsible.
They use the Lebanese people as human shields while they fire rockets from apartment buildings into Israel.
Hezbollah has been using you as human shields. It placed rockets in your living rooms and missiles in your garage.
Using innocent people as human shields.
The civilians that Hamas has forced into the role of human shields.
The reason why they're firing rockets from residential areas is so they can martyr these people.
While we take extensive measures to minimize civilian casualties, Hamas makes every effort to maximize them.
Human shields.
Human shields.
Human shields.
Human shields.
Human shields.
Human shield.
Human shields. They want to use these people.
So, in other words, he's literally repeating the propaganda of Israel word for word, bar for bar. And it's obviously not true because every single third party who goes in that's not being paid by Israel goes, yeah, they're just bombing everything. They're not waiting for rockets to be launched. They're demolishing all structures. You don't destroy, what, you think 90% of civilian homes in Gaza had a rocket in them? You fucking moron. And there has been confessions by the Israeli military about how they're shooting children. There has been videos of them raping prisoners inside of prison camps. Civilian prisoners, by the way, not even terrorists, although that would still be completely unlawful. They tortured a famous Gazan surgeon to death. This is not something where it's like, oh, they're only responding at they're only bombing rockets or preempting rockets. No, they're destroying everything. They're saying somebody who had a cell phone that had a phone number of somebody who was in Hamas lived in your apartment building, and so we're going to bomb 50 apartments with a 2,000-pound bomb. That's the level of connection to Hamas. And then Asmongold will call that human shields. Can you imagine if they leveled Asmongold's neighborhood because somebody had a phone number of somebody who was in the Klan? Somebody in that neighborhood had a phone number in their cell phone of somebody that was in the Klan, and they leveled Asmongold's entire neighborhood. That would be equivalent of what they're doing to Gaza. Hell, over the weekend, they declared intent to kill children for flying kites because they're security threats. And so now that Israel is super unpopular, this is what he's trying to say.
An American citizen. I don't want Israel involved in my politics. I don't care about Israel. I don't care who's bombing terrorists. I want terrorists to get bombed. This is the problem that people like Hassan have, is that they reframe all criticism of terrorism to criticism of Israel. But they don't understand that I think a lot of us feel the way that, like, we don't like Israel and we don't like the terrorists.
Now, okay. But he says the terrorist. I mean, the problem with somebody like Asmongold is he's too stupid to really give a shit about any argument, right? He's only out there to do damage and be nihilistic and laugh at people being hurt and say shit trying to, like, I don't know, get a rise out of people, because that's his only way of being significant. Unfortunately, it doesn't get a rise out of me. It's just funny to call him out. Now, the other thing is he has no fans. There are no Asmongold fans. No one is watching this. It is a bot farm. You can make hate videos about Hassan. You're going to get a lot of views. You make videos liking Hassan, you're going to get a lot of views, because a lot of people actually give a shit about Hassan. Whether they love him or they hate him, they have an actual opinion. He has fans. They're real. Asmongold is a bot network, and he's too big to fail. Everybody knows it. Everyone fucking knows it. The audience he does have is from Northern Europe. They're chud shut-ins from Northern Europe. And it's like, that's it. He doesn't have a large amount of fans, okay? They're not real. And so they also don't believe in anything. In fact, they think it's funny that on one day they can be like, we love Israel, and the next day pretend to be against Israel. They think it's funny how hypocritical they are. And for me, I mean, he doesn't have any influence on anybody. Nobody was like, I was going to vote for Kamala Harris, but then Asmongold was on my Twitch or whatever the fuck. Google Trends backs this up. Yes, it's not even like, are you serious? Here's a quick comparison of the top countries searching on Google for Hassan Piker and Asmongold over the past 12 months. United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Ireland, aka countries that speak English. Asmongold, Finland, Sweden, Norway, Estonia, and Canada. Finland. Just want you to know, there's not very many people in Finland. Pretty small country. What is it, like 5 million? Or is it 6 million? 5.6 million. God damn, directly in the middle. The state, Wisconsin has more people than Finland. Wisconsin. I want you to imagine that the top searching state for Hassan was Wisconsin. Bro, there ain't nobody real watching that shit. Again, the only type of person that is like similar to Asmongold is a shut in from the social democracies. That's the only place where you can get somebody who is absolutely no skills, white, speaks English because they're taught it in their incredible public schools, but is a fucking loser shut in, consuming American culture 24/7, and is not like thrown out on their own because the social safety net is perhaps even too robust for somebody like an Asmongold fan. So that's why his entire audience are Northern European incels. He has 2,000 active subs. Bro, he is legitimately, Asmongold is, and this is without a doubt, a sponsor scam network. Like, it is, how many bots can I have and then sell ads on this bot network and basically scam sponsors? I would like to know anybody who is sponsored with Asmongold, who is the most successful company sponsoring with Asmongold. I would love to see the sales numbers after an Asmongold ad. Well, I mean, he has companies he's a part of, right? Like OTK sold ads and had sponsored shit. Anyway, okay. So getting back to this, he's saying he doesn't like Israel. He doesn't like the terrorists. Pretty much every terrorist is a terrorist because Israel is committing war crimes against their people and stealing their land. If you look at the motivations of every terrorist, almost all of them reference directly the way that Israel is exterminating Palestinians. Now, I'm not saying it justifies terrorism. I'm just saying that if you didn't care about Israel, the terrorists, the fact that we gave them 350 billion with a B billion of US taxpayer dollars to subsidize that may be motivating terrorism.
An American citizen. I don't want Israel involved in my politics. I don't care about Israel. I don't care who's bombing terrorists. I want terrorists to get bombed. This is the problem that people like Hassan have, is that they reframe all criticism of terrorism to criticism of Israel. But they don't understand that I think a lot of us feel the way that, like, we don't like Israel and we don't like the terrorists. We don't like either one of them. Like, if both of these sides could lose, this would be great. Now, I do want to say, why do I not like Israel?
If you wanted both sides to lose, aka Islamists and Zionists, you know what you could do? Pull America out of the Middle East, because America's behind both of those sides. Islamism, as I've proven a million times in the past, is directly supported by America. For why? To oppose pan-Arab secular nationalism and Iranian secular nationalism, which were parties that were fighting for sovereignty and self-determination from a secular lens. Center-left decolonial movements in both the Arab world and the Iranian world that were overthrown by America, MI6, and Israel to install these puppets who rely on Islamism as a popular sovereignty support. And Wahhabism and the Mujahideen, all that shit, firmly supported by the United States and our allies. That's the only reason it exists. Hamas didn't happen until the 80s. Why? Because the U.S. was fighting the Palestinian anti-colonial movements, which were secular, pan-Arab. Pan-Arab means uniting all Arab people into one country. So instead of... What's up? Did you see him cough again? Oh no, he caught the flu from us. So what I'm trying to say overall is, if you hate Islamism and you hate Zionism, then pull the United States out of the middle fucking East, which only the left is the one saying, because we all know that America first and the right was all bullshit. Donald Trump has been sucking Netanyahu off and giving and starting a war in Iran at the behest of Benjamin Netanyahu. So there's only one grouping in the country that's actually wants to pull America out of the Middle East, and that's the fucking left. And that's what these little grifters don't want to deal with.
Real. I'm mainly ambivalent towards Israel, like I'm neutral generally, but I trend negative. And the reason why I trend negative is because I think Israel tries to exert pseudo-political power in America through things like AIPAC and the ADL, and then use that political power to subvert our Constitution and our freedom of speech by reframing things that people say and ideologies that people have as anti-Semitic.
You literally contributed to me getting banned for exactly that. You support that, you fucking loser. And you were one of those people pushing that propaganda. Here you are right now, you fucking liar.
So many of these people are actual goyim, and you've been convinced that Israel is your biggest enemy while you side with other people that want to ethnically and demographically replace you in a different way, and you think that they're on their side. That's what's happening to you, and you're being played for a fucking fool. You've been poison pilled. And do you know why? It's because you're winning. It's because you're winning astronomically. You're completely destroying every one of their designs. You have totally removed the idea of, genital mutilation for children because they've been psyoped by their parents to think that they're the opposite gender. DEI has been all but destroyed. You've had all of the pride flags hanging off the White House replaced by muscle cars and fucking motorcycles. You have a UFC fight in front of the fucking White House that the president attends for his birthday.
Listen, like, I'm sorry, guys, but, Asmongold and I are similar ages. I think I'm a little bit older. But I gotta tell you, is this what it's like in the South? Is this what Southern white guys are like? Because I gotta tell you, listening to this shit as a Northeasterner, this shit is fucking... let me try to come up with a way of describing this. Because I'm woke. Bro, is there something you want to tell us? You're drooling over men who are wrestling each other on the White House lawn like it's winning or something? Bro, you don't even do MMA and you don't watch it. What are you talking about, man? Are you okay?
You have had a cultural victory that is so massive.
There's no cultural victory. Everybody hates MAGA. Everybody hates Trump. Fucking... You know what the #1 support for Zohran Mamdani is? What demographic supported Zohran Mamdani the most in the primary? White men. Young white men are turning away from the Asmongoldian shit at record pace. The Hasanabi Mike from PA complex and the greater left-wing complex of all of our associated groups, Sam Cedar, Kyle Kalinsky, myself, Hassan, Noah Sampson, and even other people that I don't necessarily agree with on everything. There's a cultural milieu that is growing and growing and growing where young men are becoming more and more left-wing. It's just happening. You guys have fucking lost. There was like 5 minutes in November of 2024 because of how incompetent the Democrats were and refusing to stand up to Israel that gave you an opportunity to win an election with Donald Trump. But now that everybody see what your type of politics looks like, their life sucks more and they fucking hate it. And you guys are whiny little bitches. Where's all the shit I was promised? Where are the really cool video games, man? Where's the big titty video games? You don't even have any content to show me. Where's all the really based shit? What have you guys accomplished? You wasted 150 billion bullying guys selling tacos? Like, what exactly have you done? Oh, we had an MMA where they insulted Michelle Obama and said she was a dude. You have nothing. You have nothing to show for it. Gasoline prices are out of control. Housing is more expensive. Homelessness is worse. Traffic is worse. What exactly is better? I would like to know what's better. You have fucking nothing, man.
widespread that it's caused them to cancel entire TV shows because they're afraid of the backlash. You have completely destroyed them culturally.
That's the same exact. What do you mean? It's the same exact shit as always. If brands feel like they offend a bunch of their viewers, they'll cancel the show. It's the same. Capitalists are still worried about making money. What the fuck are you talking about? If you wanted to have more content where people were not worried about offending others, then you need to have more government-funded art, where it is granted, like in a PBS model, where there is a filter between the art being generated and the people giving the money. Because if you let people giving the money dictate art, they're going to dictate based on what makes them money, or at best their own individual aesthetic preference. If you want challenging, interesting art that's not hemmed in by money, like what you're describing, then you need to have government grants. We used to have Piss Christ in this country. We used to have Piss Christ, but now we don't because of people whining bitches like you. Whatever happened to Piss Christ? Immersion, Piss Christ, is a 1987 photograph by American artist photographer Andres Serrano. It depicts a small plastic crucifix submerged in a small glass tank of the artist's urine. This guy needs to hydrate. Can I just say that? The piece was a winner of the Southeastern Center for Contemporary Arts Awards in the Visual Arts Competition, which was sponsored in part by the National Endowment of the Arts, a United States government agency that offers supportive funding for artistic projects. This is what our government used to fund. This was the golden age, literally. Fuck, I lost the exact video I was watching because I was going to go back to it. Oh, here it is.
And the only thing that they can do, they know they can't beat you. They know that you're winning. They know that the Chud, the year of the Chud, is so powerful, so they're trying to poison you by fixating on something that's not them. Stay focused. Stay focused because they're not done yet. They're not done, and there are still too many of those people in the problem. And I understand you have problems with Israel. But all I'm saying is that those problems should be dealt with after these. Stay on target. They want to distract you with Israel because they don't want you to look at them. That's the reason why.
And like, honestly, I know he's like, his level of intelligence is sub 80 IQ. And I'm sorry, but like, how do I put this? Whenever you engage with Asmongold, he just brings out some of your latent chud. And what I mean by that is, he triggers your disgust. Like, if you have any ability to feel disgust, he triggers it. And disgust is the basis for all right-wing beliefs, right? It's inherently a rejective politics. So whenever you see Asmongold, you're thinking like, it's the same way you feel if a cockroach suddenly started crawling up your leg. Well, unless you're Asmongold, in which case that's every 5 seconds. But for most people, it causes an intuitive, reflexive response where you just want to squish the bug. You know what I mean? So now that Israel is hated by everyone, now Asmongold has a slightly different tune.
Use that political power to subvert our constitution and our freedom of speech by reframing things that people say and ideologies that people have as anti-Semitism. So I think that Israel is a foreign power.
Which, by the way, Asmongold has done about me in particular, right? Like, first of all, this guy goes around saying that migrant children should be mowed down and murdered, had to eat a 14-day ban for that, says that entire cultures are inferior, and now he's crying about anti-Semitism as if he gives it. Like, why would he give a shit about anti-Semitism? If on the one hand, you're perfectly okay with people being killed for their race or their religion, but I'm supposed to believe you have some sort of principle against bigotry when it comes to anti-Semitism? Why shouldn't people be anti-Semitic? Asmongold, explain why people should not be anti-Semitic. I'd love to hear the Asmongold explanation. I'll tell you why I think it, because I think all forms of bigotry flatten our freedom, and that every individual has the right to seek their full potential, and that bigotry, racism, that doesn't have any basis in reality. and that these are constructs set up by society in order to help exploit us for the benefit of the rich. They divide the working class among these imaginary lines so that they can better pit us against each other so they can exploit our asses better. That's why racism was developed, so that they would have a group of people they could hyper exploit, and then to prevent working class people of all races joining together and fighting for a better share of their productivity. They created that subhuman class that they could hyper exploit. It used to be black people. Now it is illegal immigrants. That's why bigotry is bad, because it actually hurts all of us. And what they call the racial bribe, which is the sense that white people feel like they have some sort of superiority, it's a fucking fugazi. It's fake. It's something it's some psychological thing you feel, when in reality, you live in filth, you fucking piece of shit.
Or that's trying to wield influence in America in a way that is not what me as an American wants them to do. I think that Qatar and China do this too. Israel isn't unique, but I think Israel is the most overt. So like, it's like, people don't know this, but very clearly other countries put money into American politics. Israel isn't the only country that's doing this, but Israel does this on a world stage, and they're not even on a world stage, but on the stage with politicians. So it's a lot more in your face. But the truth is that this is happening all over. So that's the reason why. They're overt and covert in different ways, right? You're right about that. But which country doesn't, though? Sure, AIPAC is fucking obvious. It is, but I think that,
again, this is what people like Asmongold don't understand. There is no other country's lobby that spends intensely in political campaigns, partisan political campaigns and primaries like AIPAC. There is not. Now, there are a lot of countries who would spend money on things like television ads for tourism. Like the Bahamas will say, visit the Bahamas, and they'll buy television ads. Or the Chinese, Trade Promotion Authority will advertise glycerin in the Manufacturing Trade Journal or some shit. That's not the same thing as what Israel does. Israel buys $60 million of ads against Abdul El Sayed in Michigan for Haley Stevens. Okay? No other country does that. No other country interferes in our election system like Israel does. No other country does that. It's not even close.
Again, and I'm against all of it.
Mike, is it Asmongold's mostly European? It seems like Euroids are the only ones engaging in culture wars while the culture of the U.S. shifts more to the left. Yes, 100%. That's the other thing. Stop assuming these people are American. Because if you're from Finland, you have free college. You have a year of maternity leave. You have 40 days of sick days and paid vacation. You have, a union. You have housing as a right. You have healthcare as a right. So you're not living in the so for them, all those economic questions are not fucking important issues because they're living in a Nordic-style social democracy. So they engage with politics through the internet of dumb culture war bullshit. And let me tell you, the Nordics, more feminist, more queer. So they're LARPing about shit that doesn't even relate to what their lived experience is. Embarrassing. And, one more thing is, for me, I kind of test my politics based on who is allied with me, right? And who sees me as an ally? Who boosts me? Who promotes me? Who says that I'm right and who says that I'm wrong?
Like, just stop getting involved in politics directly because it hurts the candidates. Can't you have the self-awareness for this? If you actually want to win the race, stay the fuck out of it.
Your point of view, is there a possibility of making amends? I reply, I can only speak for myself, and like I said last night, we have a race to win and as much exposure as possible. With as much
the Piss Christ wiki. Oh my god, I didn't even okay, I should have looked into it more. I was only making a joke.
Time with eyes on the campaign and pushes for donations makes it more likely to reach that goal.
Oh god.
If Mike can't put himself aside for the people here, then I can take a back seat because I know his viewers will donate faster since there's more of them. Unquote.
Man.
On Monday night, I spoke to the campaign director and asked directly.
No, it's gonna
what
get worse.
they were told was reason enough to put Mike's feelings above my participation in the campaign coverage and fundraiser. I was told Mike was insistent they not work with me and would not work with them if they did, according to him. According to him, comma, I need to put that there. According to him, I, along with other streamers that I roomed with at TwitchCon in 2025, quote, this is what I was told, engaged in a mass harassment campaign alongside Destiny to cause an old clip of him saying, quote, Jews were a demonic ethnicity, and
Jews, which is not what I said. That I never said that. That's not a quote. And this is why, listen, like, obviously, I don't believe in suing people, but I never said that. I never said that line, ever. That's just not true. I said that the idea of the Benjamin Netanyahu's idea of a settler colonial identity would be a demonic. That would be that's not what I said. I never said Jews were a blah. That's not true. That is actually not a quote. And this is part of why, obviously Gremlo harassing and being misogynistic towards VO is a totally separate issue. I'm just talking about myself and him. He is lying again. In order to try to pressure me to work with him, he continues to spread the idea, working with Zach, working with Destiny to push this. Now, I'm sorry, guys. If you're still okay with Gremlo after this, why are you here? It's fucking weird. And again, this is what I've said. This should be a moment of self-awareness for you. This should be a moment of self-awareness for you where it's like, every time I go after Mike, the only people that join in are Dan Saltzman, Asmongold, Destiny Orbiters. Everybody else tells me I'm fucking wrong and to stop. And it doesn't make them stop. And the reason why is because they come from the Destiny Vosh orbit. And for them, any publicity is good publicity. And they don't give a shit about the spaces that they live in. They don't give a fuck that I raised $31,000 directly in one fundraiser in one fundraising drive for Oliver Larkin. They don't care that I've been supporting him since February. When did you first start talking about Oliver Larkin, Gremlo? And then when I'm asked, hey, do you want to work with Gremlo? I say no. I don't want to work with the guy who calls me an anti-Semite racist and who promoted a clip. Again, and here's the thing about the old clip thing. It's not an old clip. It was a out of context, buried clip that didn't exist, and they sat on for years in order to deploy to distract from the fact that he initially backed Lalo Overruled when he was being called out for being a sex pest and downplayed the women coming out who were talking about Lalo Overruled. Gremlo came out and scoffed at the accusations. And because Lalo was basically thrown out of the community, he needed to find a new target to drive attention from himself. And he brought up this old clip and then used Asmongold, used Destiny in order to promote it, ultimately getting me banned. And he did not give a shit when it said, hey, man, you're kind of doing damage to our space. This isn't what Mike believes. And they want to go back and pretend like none of that ever happened. And here we are again. Here we are again. Now Zach Rahr is using it again. The same lies that don't represent what I believe. 10,000 hours, you'd think there'd be more than one clip. If I actually was anti-Semitic or believed any of this shit, you'd think there would be more than one clip, but there's not. And putting quotes around this is not a quote of mine. That is not a quote of mine. And this is who he allies himself with. And I'm sorry, but upside down Palestinian flags on your microphone are not going to make me back off when you are focused your effort on wrecking people. And again, I organize, yes, I do a lot of electoral work because that's where the masses are. I also talk about a whole bunch of shit that the masses aren't at yet. But I also do effective electoral work because I see that engages and increases our credibility. And it's working, clearly.
Are a demonic ethnicity. That was the actual clip. Mike from PA just said Jews were demons.
I never said that.
And then he called me, I forgot the name of the Nazi that he called me, and then I looked it up, and the Nazi also said that Jews were demons. So he's got more in common with that guy than I do.
Ultimately get him banned so that we, the streamers mentioned and myself could take his place as the second top politics streamers beside.
Okay, I want to say this, chat. I want to say this with very clear. Who gives a fuck about who's number 1 or number 2 on Twitch politics streaming? My point is the opposite of that, which is there is so much space in Twitch to be successful in politics if you're good at it. If you have something to say, there's a ton of, you don't need to go up because somebody else is down. Nobody is crowding out anybody else's viewers. You sink and swim on your own. That is has always been my point. There's so many politics streamers and people that have come up and streamed in my time slot, so-called, who have done well. Like, it's just not true. I don't, again, this is 180 degrees opposite of what I believe. Any mods? I don't care. We'll get to the chud later.
Oh my God, what a bunch of
worry
losers.
about it. I'll make fun of him in a bit.
It's crazy. This guy, I hate Grimlow. I think he's such a nasty, disgusting weasel, but he's actually in the right here. He is. Mike from PA is an even bigger, disgusting, obnoxious, annoying, ego-driven, clout-seeking, pathetic piece of garbage.
I mean, what's really funny about this is I give literally tens of thousands of dollars out of my own pocket and raise hundreds of thousands of dollars more for political campaigns that I don't have to do. In fact, most of the time that shit hurts my numbers. I thought Vosh hated Destiny as orbiters. Vosh is a Destiny orbiter. What the fuck are you talking about? He was thrown out because he was sexually harassing trans people in Destiny's community so badly that they had to separate. Anyway, I can't read chat because of some big banner. I didn't put it up. Take it up with Twitch. Anyway, so it's just a ridiculous point on its own.
Than he is. That's really sad. His call for violence against you? I know. That's how bad it is. So's Mike, by the way.
These lies have persisted for 10 months, and it has never...
It's a lie? We heard you say it. What do you mean it's a lie?
...been more false. I told this to the campaign director.
It's not a lie.
They apologized for putting me in this position, and I offered to make they offered to make things right by putting together a stream with the candidate the following day, to which I am grateful for, and thank them for allowing me to give my side of this.
Yeah.
Here we arrive at why I wrote this. Mike from PA put his personal vendetta against myself above the opportunity to raise funds, offer media coverage, and inform the public about
I mean, guys, like, legitimately, this is when ego gets too far. When you equate yourself collaborating with someone that you have tried to destroy and damage, and then you do it again right after a campaign which was very successful in a lot of ways, and who asked you to avoid being involved in drama, you then went ahead and created this. Now, listen, I don't know if Oliver Larkin and his campaign manager were aware of this or not. I haven't cared enough to ask, to be honest with you. But actually, I will ask. I will ask because it is fucking weird. But the idea that time and time again, the only people who give you the time of day are people to use it to attack me. Has that ever given you any pause? Asmon's girlfriend is hot. Okay, well, that's just not, it's not a real girlfriend. It's an OnlyFans promotional. It's an OnlyFans promotional thing, man. Are you stupid? Asmongold doesn't actually have relationships. He does OnlyFans promotions. It's better not be completely irrelevant to what I'm saying.
Really?
Okay, thank you. This is completely irrelevant and ruining my momentum. Thank you. What was I saying? And this is kind of like the nature of the larger group of those people that, you know, again, were very misogynistic to VO, doubled and tripled down on it for 10 months, continued to harass and bully her, even when she tried to stand up for herself, completely separate from me, had nothing to do with me. They targeted her and abused her in a misogynistic way, which they're now starting to admit. So think about how bad of a person you have to be to do something misogynistic and abusive for 10 months. And then only after you're getting consequences for it do you start to apologize. And then the only way your stream ever really gets any motion is when it's being used to attack me. I think you should probably, I don't know what else to say, man. The way you treated Little Bear, the way you treated VO, The way you've treated all sorts of MB and Feb presenting people is fucking crazy. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to work with people that allow themselves to be used by Asmongold and Ethan Klein and Destiny to attack the left, and they just don't seem to give a fuck. I think if you're one of those, if you're that type of person, then you should not be part of this community. Because if I was being used to attack left-wing candidates and creators by the far right, I would shut that shit down immediately. I wouldn't leave the posts up. I think it shows you their character. Oh, fuck. Okay, sorry. I thought this was a clip.
I think
DGG projection arc is crazy.
that's pretty
All right, it's time for fun, I guess. Like, this is just funny now. Holy shit.
fucking predatory.
That's
if
crazy.
I'm gonna be 100% real with you, I think that a 50-year-old man,
he's not fit.
diverting attention away from him to his 20-something-year-old partner
20-something. I'm in my 30s, man, but thank you.
is kind of fucking weird.
So this guy is trying to imply that I am in my 50s and Vio's in her 20s to his audience. Now, this doesn't appear to be like a joke. This just seems to be outright defamation, just straight defamation. And again, he's saying it's deflecting to Vio when it was him misogynistically saying that she's hysterical for attacking her on some sort of like pile on about stolen emotes, which were recolored Pepes, and fantasizing a woman in her 30s, an MB in her 30s. I don't know what else to say. And again, I am in my 40s, but my early 40s. Weird. And also saying it's predatory, by the way. Predatory for letting a woman speak for herself about the misogyny she receives and not interfering and just supporting her. That's predatory of me? I'm sorry, guys. Allowing yourself to be used by Ethan Klein, allowing yourself to be used by Asmongold, allowing yourself to be used by Destiny, associating with people that have stalked my parents and family members. Calling me clout for PA for being supportive of Frogan 4 years ago when she started streaming. Making fun of Frogan for losing some viewers from raids, because that's how it works. When you raid someone, some of the viewers leave. Like this guy, and then misogynistically attacking Vio, and then when Vio stands up for herself, saying it's because I'm predatory. This guy is a bad person. And again, has never apologized to me for saying this. Has never apologized for helping spread the idea that I'm anti-black or anti-Semitic. Has never apologized for being used as a puppet by Ethan Klein, Destiny, Asmongold. Has never attempted to repair the damage to my reputation that he did. When I did my apology video, after spending the whole time I was banned slandering me, did not even review it, did not even look at it, did not even show it to his audience, probably to keep it buried so that people wouldn't know how I approach accountability, how I approach when I make mistakes, right? This guy is a piece of shit. And I mean, I don't care. Like, I'm sorry, but if you could overlook all this stuff, I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say. And again, and this is something that I'm uncomfortable with saying, but I just say it this way. I try to keep my personal life private. I don't try to make it super secret, but I try to keep it private. You don't see me talking about my partner on Twitter, for example, because that's hostile territory, right? I'll talk about it on my stream because I'll be honest with you. Most of my enemies never have watched my stream. Most of my biggest haters have never followed or sent a single chat message in my chat. They have never, ever watched me. Ever. The people that have the strongest opinions, hate opinions against me, have spent the least amount of time here. And the only reason that Gremlin even knows that Vio is a partner of mine is because in TwitchCon, when it was in Las Vegas, I invited him to a party that was at my home. So he violated that privacy, that solidarity that I have with other creators where I thought, hey, he's on the left. I can trust him with this information. You'll understand that all of us have private lives that we don't necessarily want to share with the internet and the political sphere. So they have exploited that vulnerability and they've done it again. So they've broken my confidence by revealing that. They broke the confidence of the Oliver Larkin campaign when they told him why I was turning down the thing. I don't know what else they said. about exactly why. I told them that I don't want to work with anybody that has defamed me and is unapologetic about it. And I think it would be a bad idea. I am unabashed about that. If you want to call me all sorts of names, I'm not going to work with you. That's insane. Like, what, are you okay? And if you think that's like, and here's the thing, chat, you should never ally with someone who's careless with your reputation. If somebody is willing to drag your name through the mud and call you a bigot and call you anti-black and call you all sorts of things, and in a climate where they're trying to deplatform the pro-Palestinian creators, they're careless with your reputation, and then they want to work with you, that's batshit crazy. Stand up for yourself. Absolutely not. And I'm sorry, but like, this stuff is not okay. It's not something that you can look at and think is like a good faith misunderstanding. This guy is malicious. He's narcissistic. He's hostile. And I don't know where it comes from because I didn't start it. I never went after Gremlo. Hostility has all come from him toward me, never the other way around, until they were all trying to get me banned. And then I woke up and realized, oh, these guys actually despise me. It's weird. And again, I've been nothing but supportive. I was nothing but nice. I was always willing to let bygones be bygones. I always was willing to let people like Gremlo leave Vosh's community, leave those spaces and become better. But ultimately, at a certain point, you have to just say, like, you got to call it out. Now, I'm not expecting other content creators to despise Gremlo like I despise Gremlo. I'm just warning you. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about the movement, and he will stab you in the back. It started with his insecurity over Mike was right. It literally the pettiest, smallest shit you could imagine. Pure envy and covetousness. I mean, maybe. I don't know what's going on in his brain, but it is what it is. I think it's fucking evil to outright lie about my age and Vio's age to imply that I'm some sort of sex pest predator, especially when he defended Lalo Overruled when women were coming out with accusations. Like, that is sociopathic. I don't know what else to say. Have you seen me do that to him? He didn't defend, he attacked the victims. Yeah. I'm sorry you have to go through that, Mike. I mean, you know, it is what it is. Like, you know, maybe it's because I'm too abrasive, maybe because I'm loud, you know, maybe because I'm autistic. Who knows why? You know, ultimately, I can only tell you what is happening, and it's not okay. Literally rewind the stream, man. I don't know what this is about. Here, I'll show you. This specific clip is fucking crazy. And this is why, like, if he tries to apologize, this was 3 days ago, by the way. I don't buy it. And I don't see any apology in my inbox.
I think
DGG projection arc is crazy.
That's pretty.
All right, it's time for fun, I guess. Like, this is just funny now. Holy shit.
Fucking predatory.
That's
if
crazy.
I'm gonna be 100% real with you, I think that a 50-year-old man,
he's not 50.
Diverting attention away from him to his 20-something-year-old partner.
20-something. I'm in my 30s, man. But thank you.
Is kind of fucking weird because I can have these.
Wait, is that why chatters were saying I'm 25? Is that why? I was like, why is everyone saying I'm like in my 20s today? What's going on? Foreign Fridays! Hello! Thank you so much for the fucking gifties. Girl, okay, oh my god, no. Y'all need to fucking follow Foreign Fridays right the fuck now. Like now. Like, oh fuck, my head. Shit! 1 sec. The headset is dead.
She's only in her mid-30s, you sick fuck! You sick fuck! You were both in your 30s when you started dating, you sick fuck!
Been live long enough for my fucking earbud to.
Why is it vertical? It's a new Twitch thing. You could switch back to the old. You could switch back to the old way of viewing. Sorry, it's a Twitch thing. It's not my fault. Yell at Twitch. They're giving me money for a vertical version. I'm sorry.
If we can get a shout out for Foreign Fridays, please. Also, I want to give you. I don't know why you're not modded in here. What?
I was just playing the part where he says that I'm in my 50s and you're in your 20s and I'm trying to divert attention away from myself to you. And the answer to that is I'm not diverting attention from myself. I'm calling you guys out for what you're doing. And Vio is calling you out for what you're doing to her. We're standing on our own 2 feet. You fucking weirdo. And again, if you want to go toe to toe with me anytime, any place, schedule it. So here's, and you know, obviously, I don't want to, you know, let you guys think that it is a group of people that are doing this, which is why they have the confidence, right? The reason why they have this confidence is they have a bubble of a group of people where they have these kind of assumptions. Like, they're not very bright. I'll just explain it to you. They have their little Discord or their social milieu, and they have created this idea in their mind that they have like power over me, or I'm exiled from their group, or I want to be part of their group, or anything like that. I want nothing to do with them, and I've never cared about them in any way. And so that fantasy in their mind is just crazy. It's nonsense. Why the fuck would I give a shit about any of them? I have been supportive of various small left-wing creators because I try to be supportive of left-wing content creators who make content, right? That's just how I am. I'm just nice like that. I'm not trying to like be friendly with all these people. And what they're confused about is they think me realizing that they like despise me and have been shitting on me and then tried to work up a program to get me deplatformed and then responding to it is the same thing as me wanting to be part of their group or mad that I'm not in their group. And it's like, no, it's just me responding to people that obviously have malicious intent or parasiting in my community. That's not the same thing. Let's go toe to toe. I like you. Let's not get I'm talking about debating. You guys need to understand metaphoric language.
We did not make you say that. And if you think that I'm gonna like just sit back and like,
what does their redemption arc look like? I want you to understand, and I see a lot of this kind of questioning from people that used to be Vosh viewers, where they have this kind of like, and I can tell you're a Vosh viewer because the reason why you're a Vosh viewer is you identify with the perpetrator rather than the victim, right? And so you intuitively empathize with the perpetrator and not the person who has been victimized. Now, the leftist way of looking at the world is to empathize with both the victim and the perpetrator. So if you're empathizing with the victim, you understand that the very first thing that has to happen for redemption is contrition. The perpetrator has to actually be sorry for what they did. There is no, and then they have to do what's called restitution, which is restoring the victim to where they were before the offense, right? Then we can talk about redemption and rehabilitation and all those other things. But you have to empathize with the victim of the attack first. And the reason why I know you're from Vosh is you want to rush to identify with the perpetrator because Vosh is oftentimes a perpetrator. And so you're always rushing to what redemption looks like for them. Well, the first step would be restitution and contrition. Apologizing to me. Deleting all the things they said where they call me anti-Semitic, anti-black, and all that shit would be actually working to restore my reputation, right? Which they have never done and never intend to do. Right? That would be the bare minimum in order for me to then consider some sort of redemption arc. But they don't have that in them because they're malicious and they're not sorry. I need you guys to understand that. They're not sorry. They're sorry they're getting consequences. They're not sorry for harming me. They're sorry they're getting consequences. And those are different. Vosh has relevancy? Yes, only because these communities are oftentimes receptacles for former Vosh viewers. Mike, it's very simple. He blames you for losing 50% of his viewership. I mean, this is just channel performance over time. Like, this is Maple Takes. This is Sad Girl. This is Denims. This is Struggle 4. This is me. Majority Report. Sean, Little Bear, Vio, and Hassan. You know, when you're already big, it's hard to grow, you know, so Denims and I, you know, we're near the top of all time if you look at our channels. But you can see the people that are like solid, kind people that are good-hearted. And I may disagree with them from time to time. I know that I've disagreed with Sad Girl. I know I've disagreed with Maple Takes. But they're good-hearted people from what I've seen. I like Struggle 4. I support them, even though I don't even know if they fuck with me or not. Because I like having veterans of the left representing a pipeline to get people to the left. I wish they had left flank vets. That was an awesome channel, and it's a shame they had to change it. They were shamed and attacked by people because I want there to be a pipeline of people to leave the empire, leave the military, and start to work against that shit. It sucks that you know, they were shamed into changing their name. Bosch said such awful things about you. I was disbelieving, so I watched you to get your side. It did take long to realize you were a nice person, and he is not. I fully agree with you about Maple and Sad Girl and Struggle 4. They all have good vibes. And like, that is, you know, listen, obviously it is what it is. So ultimately, I wanna recommend that you guys go check out. Can someone relink me that? Oh, the Little Bear thread. If you wanna hear about all the, maybe I should just read them quickly. Let me just read it quickly. Calling out and documenting the deeply gross and ongoing misogynistic behavior from Gremlo and Cinemarxism toward VO, as well as others over the past 10 months. To be very clear, I'm not litigating interpersonal beef. This is a factual accounting of their actions and how this behavior is unacceptable. Full context will be provided so you can see for yourself, along with links to VODs and VOD segments to show you that I'm not clipping out of context or creating a narrative. This is just the truth. As to why I'm doing this, well, here is what Brett has to say on that fact.
We did not make you say that. And if you think that I'm gonna like just sit back and like watch a peer of mine say incredibly bigoted, disgusting shit for your own benefit, like, no, I'm not gonna do that. We did not make you say that. And if you think,
so this is when they were trying, I guess this clip is when they got me banned, and they were trying to promote the idea that I'm anti-Semitic. I guess that's where that clip comes from. Also, just be patient. I will get through all of this. There's so much to edit and upload, but by the end, I'll have it all documented in this thread. On October 23rd, 2025, VO responded to another content creator named Rhizo to factually disprove their accusation of stolen emotes and address harassment they had received around a false accusation. See video linked. It's important to note that the emo artist involved was also Greblo's artist, and that Rhizome has since apologized for their actions and how they enabled harassment from their community toward VO. Rhizome shares many community members with Greblo and Brett, and this harassment and responses to it are central to the following events. Now, I'm not going to watch this whole video, but I will watch the first bit so you kind of you understand what the context was. And I believe Rhizome is like actually apologetic, the only one who's actually trying to be.
I want this space to be comfortable for people, not just get demonized or like just feel uncomfortable to the point where they don't.
Here's the thing. I'm not trying to say people can never apologize or get better. I believe that Rhizome is starting to engage in a healthy way in that direction. Okay? I'm not trying to say, oh, everyone's all permanently a piece of shit forever and ever. That's not how I am. But of all these people, maybe these things have happened and I've been sick the past few days, so I haven't been paying attention. But I did see that Rhizome, before I went down with the flu, was at least trying to apologize and reckon with what happened.
I want to fucking be here. Wait, is VO copying my emotes? So she just reskinned my emotes? Oh, cool. Looks like 16 of my emotes got lifted. Like, oh, cool. There's a bounce. No. Me and Rare Flowers created. Shake is literally, why are they all mine? That's so fucked up. She stole them and made them ugly. Yeah, that's true too. You can tell the new emotes are lazy copies too. Definitely not as much time and effort as you put into them. There was an intentional stealing of like 6.
Okay. So these are the so-called stolen emotes. Now, VO's emotes are on the left. The common like Pepe emote that you'll find on Franker Z or any of those other emote sites is on the right. Okay? And then Rhizome's emotes are in the middle. So as you can see, VO has original artwork of every single one. Okay? And they're different. All right, like it is what it is. So the only reason I'm bringing this up is so you understand that this was some sort of like weird freak out over nothing, very dumb argument. Rhizome, as far as I know, is now apologizing and working to make up for what was a pretty bad, embarrassing thing to do. But I believe that the guy is working on it. And so I want everyone to understand that I'm not trying to bully Rhizome here. I'm just saying that this is the content. It's ridiculous. It was on its face ridiculous. So why the fuck would you go after VO so harshly over something that was bullshit, right? It's very weird. VO went into Gremlo's stream to ask if he was going to cover the harassment that had taken place in various communities, including his toward her, given this happened within his Twitch proximity. It was also Gremlo's own artist who had received this harassment by Gremlo's mod, which is important to know is VO's partner is Mike from PA. But both Gremlo and Brett are not on good terms with Mike. Again, this is one-sided. You know, I disagree with them on politics. You know, they hated Zoran Mamdani, and they thought working on Zoran Mamdani's election was a waste of time. Okay, and they were coming into my chat looking for every excuse as to why he was a secret Zionist, and that if he got elected, it wouldn't matter, and it was a waste of time. We should spend more time on whatever projects they were working on. And I was like, you're incredibly wrong. What the fuck are you talking about? And I presented my argument, which was the idea of sewer socialism, that we would go in to municipal government and we would demonstrate through the power of a good example why voting for the left is effective, why left-wing politics and socialism are good, and that millions of people across the country and the city would be convinced that maybe socialism has more merit because of the experience of having a good example under Zoran. That was my argument. Their argument was that he was going to be a sellout liberal, he was going to betray us, and it was going to hurt socialism. Okay? Those were our two sides. I believe that I've been right and they were wrong. But let's leave that aside. But that's when they started to get super vicious toward me. Throughout this entire situation, Vio has been treated as a representation of Mike, as if his actions are hers, and she has no personal identity outside of Mike. Let me just say, what the fuck did I do? What exactly did I do? Like, this is obviously true, but this is kind of implying that I've done things. But what exactly have I supposedly done? That's the thing that's funny about all this, is there is no, like, Mike did anything, really. Like, again, there's really no argument that I did anything. So when Vio comes forth with how she was being abused in the space, Greblo does not give her own autonomy and dignity as a separate person. This is direct misogyny. More misogyny to come, yay. The following clip shows the essence of the interaction.
Despite all this drama going on, can we talk about the funniest insult at you yesterday?
Oh, this is not a clip. This is a full hour. We're not going to watch the full hour. Okay. Okay, these clips are way too long. We're not watching these clips. But to give context of what Grell was initially talking about, he's referencing Vio's stream for the day before, where Vio covers her video ongoing harassment as well as other events. Does anyone have the clip of him going, "I'm not listening to your hysterical scream"? Because this is way too long. I'm not scrubbing through this. Which are not for me to litigate. My focus is purely on public bigotry toward femmes in the space. You didn't even say anything until Grem went after Vio and used it to target you. That's correct. I still find it weird he misgendered me despite knowing my pronouns and then called me a beat puppy. That's the thing, Solio. Like, read the list of 6 misogynistic actions. Oh, this thread is way too long. Holy shit, this thread is insane. But you guys kind of get the point. LB did the thorough work. Long story short, these guys are, I think from what I'm hearing, Cinemarxism is beginning to self-reflect. Maybe. But Gremlo is quadrupling and tripling down. Here's Denov's reaction to the hysterical comment. I think it's a clip.
My position is only based on the fact that women never get fucking listened to, and they get called hysterical banshees all the time for having complaints about getting harassed on the platform. Like,
about this.
This is unacceptable behavior.
Into their chat and give them any kind of bullshit
to say,
about this.
Vio, you are lying. Yes, I am saying you are lying, Vio.
Don't fight my battles. That's what happened. And you lied about it for 8 hours.
You didn't bother watching my video, okay?
Yeah, I didn't bother watching you go on a hysterical scree for 8 hours.
I think he meant to say screed. Is scree a word? I think he meant to say screed. Yeah, I think he meant to say screed, because scree I don't think is a word. Well, okay, scree is a pile of loose rocks and small stones that collect on the side or bottom of it. Okay, I think he meant screed, a long, tedious, or passionate rant and tirade. I think that's what he meant. So I think he was trying to be misogynistic.
Like this, how do you not condemn this behavior? How do you not condemn?
I mean, that's that. And in case, I think all of you know this, but in case you're new, the concept of hysteria or hysterical is a foundational example of historical misogyny. Like when people are like, can you give me an example of misogyny in society? They talk about the diagnosis of being called hysteria. Female hysteria was once a common diagnosis for women. It was described as exhibiting a wide array of symptoms, including anxiety, shortness of breath, fainting, nervousness, exaggerated and impulsive sexual desire, insomnia, fluid retention, heaviness in the abdomen, irritability, loss of appetite for food or sex, sexually impulsive behavior, and a tendency to cause trouble for others. Like, it's the foundational kind of like misogynistic idea. So if a woman is giving you some sort of like passionate example of why they're being mistreated, you're going, oh, you're being hysterical. You are literally doing it. I can't imagine a more misogynistic thing you could do. It's up there as far as in speech. Ancient misogyny, deep lore misogyny. It's the OG shit. So I think that's pretty much where I wanna call it there, because what more do you want to say? Like, at the end of the day, I started this conversation talking about Asmongold and his pivot on Israel. But in the middle of his pivot of Israel against Israel, he was using Gremlo to attack me. And fundamentally, that's DGG. Because notice how DGG clips are now being used on Fox News, and they're all cheering, because the only thing they care about is hurting a perceived enemy. They don't have any principles. They don't have any beliefs. They don't care about hurting the Democratic Party or Democratic candidates or stopping Trump. They just want to hurt Hassan. In much the same way, these guys don't care about Ethan Klein or the pro-Palestinian movement or pro-Palestinian candidates being harmed because they attack me. Their goal is to attack me. And then to argue, people should not work with Mike because he's tainted. Guys, if you work with Mike, you're going to be called anti-Semitic. Hassan, if you work with Mike, you're going to be called anti-Semitic. The thing that they falsely charged me with and they don't believe, now they want to push it as an excuse to deplatform me further. And that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, but that has to be a red line. That has to be a point where you look at this and you say, those guys are not on the team. They are absolutely wreckers, and they have no morals, they have no standards, they have no beliefs, and it's not okay. And I don't know how you come back from that. Because you showed a side of yourself that I don't know that I could ever look past. That you're willing to use Asmongold and Ethan Klein and Destiny and Dan Saltzman to try to get one on me. I don't know what else to say. And it's unfortunate because we've got bigger problems. We've got bigger fucking problems because Donald Trump mentions Hassan. We are literally being targeted. We're on the realm of being targeted by the fascists in power. And my theory is that Donald Trump finds Hassan so irresistible that he's scared to mention him because he thinks he will be too powerful. We all know that Hassan Piker is on Fox News every other 5 minutes. I think, Jules, link me your account. Wasn't he on there like 500 times? And we know that Donald Trump watches Fox News like all day. But on 8/21, at a rally, Donald Trump said this.
America deserved 9/11. We deserved it, right? We deserved all that death, destruction. America deserved 9/11. We deserved it, right? We deserved all that death, destruction.
And I gotta tell you, I have expected, and I have said for a long time that Trump is a secret Hassan superfan. There is no way that Trump would not talk about Hassan. There's just no way. He's tall, he's good looking, he's strong, he's saying all sorts of how do I say this? Outside the mainstream acceptable discourse. It's perfect, and he has a Muslim background. How is Trump not talking about him? The answer is Donald Trump is intimidated by Hassan, literally. He saw the meat pics, and he was like, I can't go after this guy because if I do, he might become president one day. Because Donald Trump believes in he's basically a looks matter guy. So he knows who Hassan Piker is, and he's choosing not to talk about him.
But in Michigan, the Democrat nominee for Senate, Abdul El-Sayed, admitted openly that he wants to pack the Supreme Court with 23 far-left justices to shred the Constitution of the United States. His sister, very close relationship, celebrated the terrorist slaughter of babies on October 7th. His mother worked for an organization that gave hundreds of thousands of dollars to a gentleman named Osama bin Laden. Have you heard of him? Knocked down the World Trade Center. She gave him a lot of money, and he recently campaigned with a communist fanatic who says that America deserved 9/11.
So when he's not saying Hassan Piker's name, he's not saying it because he knows that Hassan is too powerful. He's choosing not to say his name.
Deserved it, right? We deserved all that death, destruction. But in Michigan, the Democrats...
And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I gotta say that this is a more important threat. This is a more important issue than a lot of these dumb fucks. And if you're going to ally with Destiny, Ethan Klein, Dan Saltzman, when we have the entire Republican Party, the entire centrist Democratic Party, the pro-Zionist forces in the world, all arrayed against us, and you don't want to show solidarity with me, you'd rather take a clip, a 3-year-old clip of mine out of context to try to get, I don't know, 500 likes. You're fucking insane. And I cannot tolerate you in my space. I'm not going to work with that. We need to have each other's backs. We've been on these platforms for like a decade. You'd think you'd have more than one clip of me if you were going to argue that I'm some sort of evil bigot. You'd think you would have some sort of thesis argument that I've been making over and over again that represents some sort of problematic position, instead of chopping a bunch of clips and then performatively acting like you're offended. We need to lock the fuck in, because this shit is not a joke. So right now, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Hassan Piker and the Fear and podcast have been doing a tour, and they're one of their tours. Hassan led a song. Hold on, I don't know if I have. Hold on, let me check. Let me see if I got the link. I would love the video of him actually singing instead of him doing commentary on the singing. Let me see if Adri has it. She posts so much though. Not what I wanted. I wanted the Charlie Kirk song. Here we go.
What the hell is this?
Oh, here? Thank you.
Old man.
Thank you.
He stood unshaken, a voice in the storm, a man of conviction, a heart reborn. He spoke the truth when the world was high. He lived for Jesus, unafraid to die. We are Charlie Kirk. We carry the flame. We'll fight for the gospel. We'll honor his
He nailed it, chat.
We are Charlie Kirk. His courage our own. He stood unshaken.
Okay, I need the longer version. I want the full song. I want the full song. I don't want just a piece. He really nailed that high note, by the way. He really nailed that high note. Okay, that's not the one. This is the one.
A man of conviction, a heart reborn. He spoke the truth when the world was high. He lived for Jesus, unafraid to die. Charlie Kirk. We carry the flame. We'll fight for the gospel.
I can't believe they didn't have the chorus. Like, this is a horrible, horrible, horrible karaoke. Is courage our own? Together unbroken, we'll make heaven known. I can't sing.
This is the most surreal moment of my entire life. We're carrying the flame for our boy Charlie tonight.
We carry the flame for our boy. And like, here's the thing. This is not even a like, this isn't even offensive anymore. No one is offended by this. His wife came out the next day and is like, our merch sales are up 500%. This is the best day of my life. Okay. Nobody is even offended by Charlie Kirk. No one cares. It's the most common meme on the right. No one is offended. Okay. But we live in this world now where people pretend to be offended. Hassan's politics are virtually indistinguishable to Charlie Kirk's when it comes to foreign policy. The thing about Destiny orbiters and in general is they're stupid. That's not true at all. JD Vance and Charlie Kirk are all China hawks. Like, you're just stupid. You're not even right. You can't even get basic things right. The only thing that you would say there's any alignment with the left and on foreign policy would be maybe we should try to find some sort of diplomatic solution to the Ukrainian conflict, which the Republicans have abandoned. So they're not even in favor of that. You don't even know anything. And like this like kayfabe where everybody pretends to be offended. It's because our country now lives in a world where the discourse is dumbed down to such a level that nobody knows what they're talking about anymore. So they can only engage in the most surface level conversations. And not the left is not immune to this. The defund the police conversation is the same thing. It's political kayfabe where people are like, this is not a policy. It is a 3-word slogan. It's not a policy. It doesn't have any content. Like, there's no debate about that. It's just a 3-word slogan. It doesn't mean anything. And instead of people having conversations about what our policy should be, should we take power, what our policy should be as far as persuasion, whether we should use that slogan or some other slogan, and why, it's all kayfabe. It's all, I'm offended that you are abandoning black people and the movement to for George Floyd. That's kayfabe. You're pretending to be offended. You're not offended. No one's offended. You're making an argument. We should stick with the slogan. But instead of like filling that out in with logical arguments, you're just doing a moral grandstanding. I can make your arguments for you. I can make logical arguments about why we should keep defund the police. I happen to believe that those arguments are not good. And the reason why they're not good is because I care about the substantive policy, not the slogan. I'll give you another example so you can understand. Let's imagine that Medicare for All was polling at 25% approval, 75% disapproval. I would not argue in favor of using Medicare for All. Imagine single-payer healthcare was at 60%, 40% in popularity, but Medicare for All was at 25% popularity and 75% unpopularity. I would argue we should say single-payer healthcare because I don't give a shit about the slogan. I care about the policy. The reason we say Medicare for All instead of single-payer healthcare is Medicare for All is poll tested. That's why we say it, because people like it. We don't say single-payer because it's less popular than Medicare for All. Do you see? You do it too. Nobody is immune to playing the game of politics and persuasion. And like, this is the problem that we have, is that everything, the conversations that we have about politics are now just pretending to be offended, doing moral grandstanding and pretending to be offended. And this exists from the far left to the far right. We are actually, we are degenerating as a society in a dumber version. And I want to call on everyone, let's all stop pretending to be offended. Can we all grow up and stop pretending to be offended and stop pretending to do this moral grandstanding bullshit so that we don't have to have conversations about real shit? Can we have conversations about real shit like adults? Can you start demanding more of people that talk about politics? And can you stop engaging in the performative moral outrage? It's embarrassing.
I need to make my position very clear one more time, okay? One, I never called for violence against Charlie Kirk. I was slated to debate him, okay? I met him many times, but that doesn't mean I agreed with him. That doesn't mean that I thought his worldview was anything but toxic, repulsive, odious, okay? I think the violence that he was subjected to was unacceptable, wrong. It's very clear. I've said that from the start. But the idea that, like, we have to sit here and rewrite his history, we have to sit here and act as though He was a figure that we have to show reverence to. Completely ridiculous. Completely ridiculous.
And this kind of like kayfabe that we're talking about, this kind of like performative offense, this is the essence of what we need to move beyond. And a lot of people, and the thing about being performatively offended is that it doesn't require any education. It doesn't require any analysis. It doesn't require any knowledge. You get to have big feelings and then force other people to manage your feelings. That's what this is really about.
Yeah, we're not going to do that. And
Hassan met Charlie many times. I was on a panel with them at Politicon. They were fiery on stage, but still jovial and amicable with each other once it was done. Charlie would have mourned Hassan had he been shot. Hassan, on the other hand, chooses to mock Charlie for shame. I'll say this right off the bat. Hassan mourned Charlie Kirk and felt terrible when he was shot. But they were not personal friends. And Charlie Kirk was perfectly comfortable mocking tragic deaths, including of people like George Floyd. And that is a staple of the right. So, again, spare me. If you're going to be a scumbag piece of shit that mocks innocent victims, then it's going to come back towards you. We Are Charlie Kirk has been clowned on for so long, conservatives forgot that they're the ones who created it and meant for it to be taken 100% seriously. We are watching a true psychopath in action. I always wondered how Hitler got millions to kill millions. This certainly gives us some insight. Making fun of Charlie Kirk's AI slop is the same thing as Hitler. Again, the other thing that you guys should keep in mind about all these posts is 1 million views and only 16K likes is actually really weak. That's weak engagement. So this is getting promoted by if I had to guess, this kind of engagement farming is 1, botted, 2, pushed by Elon Musk's direction. Unironically, this is obviously a coordinated group chat. There's some sort of like anti-Hassan group chat, 100%, that is coordinating. Charlie Kirk built the largest political youth organization in the country from nothing. You mean he was given hundreds of millions of dollars by right-wing billionaires to form an astroturfing organization that largely failed? Like, Turning Point USA failed. Young people are not right-wing. It failed. Guys, this is our Turning Point. Charlie Kirk merch. Fuck you. I ain't answering your shit. It's 12% off. Make America Charlie Kirk. This is the most anti-American hat I've ever seen. This is the most anti-American hat I've ever seen. I mean, I honest to God, this is sickening. If I'm being completely honest. They're marking down. I mean, $12 for a merch shirt, that's like below cost at that point. Well, probably not. They probably make it in Malaysia or something. I doubt it's a union-made t-shirt with union labor. So maybe their costs are like $7 or something. For a leftist, our costs would be probably somewhere in the, upper teens. They could save money by just hiring Louis C.K. as a new hot to keep the merch consistent. I don't think Louis C.K. I think Louis C.K. is a disgusting pervert, but I still don't think he's as bad as Charlie Kirk. It would be a real shame if Hassan Piker was shot in the face while streaming. From, quote, at Governor Amy Klobuchar. I wonder if Hassan realizes Charlie Kirk was assassinated for saying things incredibly less extreme than what Hassan says on a daily basis. This guy is a sex predator. Can't own a gun in Texas. Admitted to grifting against Hassan because he has no other content in court. And they still like the tweet. Charlie Kirk on Palestinian genocide. I mean, Sneeko pointing out that Charlie Kirk was in favor of genocide. Whoever gloats over disaster will not go unpunished. The delusion. This is a self-described pedophile with a lolicon avatar. Oh my lord. So there was another AI slop video of Hassan apparently being tortured, I guess. All I can say is, all in all, it was such AI slop that it wasn't even offensive. we have a situation where, Solio, why are you timing out someone for being incredibly based and correct? What are you talking about? Up your reading comp, Solio. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, so this is the world we live in. Nothing but performative outrage that none of these people believe. In fact, many of them engaged in mocking Charlie Kirk and then tried to grift off of the obvious bot network.
And then because the conservative movement was so aggressive in their posture, so aggressive in their hagiography, so aggressive in their martyrization of Charlie Kirk, that there was like an understandable, dare I say, inevitable backlash to it, where people responded by, you know, Kirkification memes, making Kirkifications happen. The answer to this isn't to say, oh, he's been jamming to the Charlie Kirk shit for months. Who gives a fuck? You guys are being so silly with that. The answer to that is you're pearl clutching. You're pearl clutching because this isn't him like belittling Charlie Kirk's assassination or mocking Charlie Kirk's assassination or celebrating Charlie Kirk's assassination. This is, you know, carrying the flame. Republicans hate when, you know, people give back like a fraction of the energy that they put out there. Charlie Kirk is now a character in internet brain rot. Children see Kirk on the same level as Tung Tung Sahur. The war is over, guys. Nobody cares about the cult of reverence anymore. They haven't since a month after he died. Exactly. So I don't know what the fuck these guys are holding on to. And I think another part of the reason why it just, you know, what I guess, like, you know, I guess they would be less mad if I had fireworks on stage like his wife. Like, is that the only way to honor it? Is that why they were mad? Because I was singing the song, but I didn't have the accompanying flares? Is that why?
Did you guys see that the Trump administration has added a $103,000 fee to H-1B visas? So if you apply for an H-1B visa, you have to pay a $103,000 fee. I'm sorry to interrupt our coverage of the Assad Charlie Kirk freakout to point to a policy that actually matters. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. The reason why the West and America in particular won the Cold War is because we were rich. And because we were rich and because we were pluralistic, upper middle class, intelligent and ambitious people, highly educated people from around the world, they would leave their underdeveloped nations and come to the United States because being in the top 10% of America was far better than being in the top 1% of whatever country they were in. And so that kind of like what we call brain drain, this kind of suction of all the world's most talented and ambitious people to the United States is our greatest advantage. It's why we won the Cold War. And by cutting that off, this is the most damaging thing you could do to America. Legitimately. I can't, like, outside of nuking LA and New York, I cannot think of anything that is more long-term damaging than this. And if China is wise, they will step up and they will allow themselves to become the attractor of the highly educated and ambitious. I have really never, even the most right-wing piece of shit that I know, all of them are in favor of skilled immigration. I like, legitimately, I cannot believe this. Like, this is, to call it anti-American, unironically, the reason why, and then I tweeted this, unironically, the reason why the United States is a superpower is because we attract ambitious and intelligent people from all over the world. This kind of policy is more damaging than anything an adversary could do to the future of the country. JD Pondon. If you don't know what, do you guys know what JD Pond means? Has Hassan ever explained the meme to you guys? There is one type of socialism that is so incorrect, or like left-wing anarchist thought that is so incorrect that I don't even like to bring it up for jokes, because I consider it to be mind rot and mind poison. And every single person who agrees with it is so wrong and so annoying that I don't want to give it any attention whatsoever. It's Fed slop. It's ultra liberal crap written by a literal CIA agent. And It's worse than Trotskyism. It's worse than even some of the worst forms of anarchism. It is the worst left tendency by far. And it's not even really a tendency. It's just kind of like a very lazy, inaccurate, poorly researched slop document, probably written in Langley. But anyway, third worldism. And basically they have this idea called the joint dictatorship of the proletariat of oppressed nations. That's what JD Pond means. Joint dictatorship of the proletariat of oppressed nations. What does that mean? It means that the global south is going to rise up and they're going to occupy the first world and put us under a dictatorship because all members of our society are bourgeoisie. There is no such thing as a developed world proletariat. So the homeless guy on the street dying of a fentanyl overdose is bourgeoisie, according to this conception of the world. Okay? And so the solution is that the first world will be occupied by the third world, and they will forcibly extract the value that has been taken from the oppressed nations and redistribute it back by basically looting and occupying the first world. Does that make sense? So our standard of living will be driven down in order to provide the loot for the JD Pond occupation, paying reparations. So when we say JD Pond Don, what we're saying is that Donald Trump is destroying American hegemony and is going to usher in the opportunity for the oppressed nations to rise up and occupy the first world, unlimited genocide on the first world. That's basically the politics. It's just, it's you know, bad and panada thought, basically. And it's very funny. And I used to make fun of it, and we used to have fun with it. But for some reason, I think it brain rots enough white liberals get brain rotted into it. And it's like a way of skipping over becoming a Marxist and just being kind of an annoying, you go from being an annoying liberal to an annoying like ultra liberal who pushes this shit. And so I found it to be like very effective brain poison for the most annoying type people in the world. So I stopped even making fun of it for jokes because legitimately people start repeating it like it's intelligent and they do it in the most annoying bad faith way. And it's 100% destructive. So I don't even like talking about it for jokes. So I never really explained it to you guys before. But all in all, there's like certain forms of thought where the mere exposure effect kicks in, where even if 1% of you listen to me and then go look at it and agree with it, I feel like that is so bad that I don't even want to give you the mere exposure effect to make fun of it. Hasadism is so funny that no one will actually believe it. But for some reason, Sakai critically hits enough of these like very self-involved white people that they then destroy their entire lives trying to push it. I don't know why. It's so successful at critically hitting the most annoying white people. And then they, you know, Bad and Panada is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. It's an information hazard. Yes, unironically, information hazard. Should I read Settlers or not? No. In fact, if anybody tells you to read it, you should probably block them. Unironically. Information hazard. It's worth a read. No, it's not. It's really not. And in fact, I consider anybody who thinks it's worth a read. Let me just say, it moves you down in my evaluation of your intelligence quite a bit. Quite a bit. I'm unironic about that. I think if you read it, because there's so many glaring errors in it that should be obvious on your first read, that it knocks me like it's sort of like if somebody was like saying, the moon is twice this, as we all know, the moon is twice the size of the earth, and then their entire shit is built off of that, and you're like, no, it's not. And then you're like, oh, your entire argument relies on factual errors that are obvious to anybody. So again, not worth a read. There are far better books who use arguments that are related to those arguments that can help like clarify like unequal exchange. The theory of unequal exchange is a theory that's worth understanding, but not Settlers, right? It's bad. It's bad. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that there's no such thing as unequal exchange or labor aristocracy or any of some of these other ideas about how the imperial core worker gets paid more. All those are obviously true and factual, but not that book. Only Mike holds the truth. Unironically, on this one, as I said before, I would rather ban someone who's been here for 60 months than tolerate settlers being pushed in my space. That's an unironic position. I mean, test it, try it. You'll see. W stalling his mic. Unironically, yes. This is one of those things where what is the statistical efficacy of DSA's political theory? Well, I mean, seeing how they have basically disrupted the Democratic Party in less than 10 years, I'd say it's pretty efficacious, wouldn't you say? DSA is now more popular than the Democratic Party, even though like 40% of Americans have no idea what the org is. I don't know what Jeremy Moss is. I don't know what this is. It figures that Mike likes P. Christ troll. He even looks like one of the dwarves out of the Lord. True. Those guys were sexy as fuck. What do you mean? But no, that's called a joke, John Michael. I think Piss Christ is actually liberal garbage and is not actually that good. But the funny part was conservatives spent like 10 years crying about it. Okay. All right. What was I? Let's get back to talking about it. So anyway, that's JD Pondon. Sorry, I got off on a rant about a politics that I fully disagree with so much that it pisses me off. Because like we used to be able to make jokes about like Yakubian, right? You guys know even you guys know about Yakub, right? Like all these like funny all these left-wing tendencies or like, you know, those stuff was funny, but then we ruined it. Now I don't want you making those jokes. You guys don't have the right to make fun of Yakub. I don't want you white people talking about Nation of Islam. Anytime I see a white person talk about Nation of Islam, I want to slap them and say, shut up. You know what you're talking about. Mike, do you have an opinion on an argument against the DSA LA Nithya endorsement? Oh man. Can I be a fence sitter? Can I tell you how I'm feeling about Nithya? Here's my feeling about Nithya. If Nithya could get DSA LA to endorse her, then I will support her. Then I will go whole hog for her. But I don't feel like I know her well enough. I'm not confident enough in her because I don't know her personally. I don't know her background enough to have a strong enough opinion to weigh in either way. But if DSA LA endorses her, then I will support her. Would you rather have Kara Bass win? No. I'm very much leaning in her direction. I'll be honest with you, Chad. I want her. I feel probably the same way Hassan does on this one. Where like, I don't know her enough. I don't know the background enough. But I gotta be honest with you, looking at the terrain, like my intuition is to back her. But we have to see. I want to see more. Are there any other notable schizotypes of socialism? Posadism, Oxism, what's the other schizo versions? I mean, Gonzalo thought. What else is schizo? I mean, any Maoism is pretty schizo because Maoism is anti-Mao, like modern Maoism. I'm not talking about Maoism of the 70s. I'm talking about Maoism of right now. Like Maoism now is anti-Mao. So I think it's a misnomer. I think it should be called like cultural revolution. It's like it should be like cultural revolution thought. It shouldn't be called Maoism thought. It should be like it should be. I don't think it identifies with the Mao that actually existed. It's a snapshot in time. It doesn't really represent Mao as as he was in his whole life. There's also forms of anarcho-primitivism. That's pretty funny. How is it anti-Mao? Because Mao realized that the Cultural Revolution had excesses, and that there needed to be more party discipline, and so he renounced a lot of the practices that took place during the Cultural Revolution. So he didn't really believe that the Cultural Revolution was the ideal version of his own thought. It was an experiment that they practiced. It may have even been necessary with where China, in his opinion, not mine, where China was, about destroying the olds. But maybe as a continual practice, it wasn't a good idea. So I don't like it. So I would consider Maoism to be on the schizo like. And I'm not talking about the Panthers, because they were doing that during so it was contemporaneous with Mao. So that was different. We're talking about being a Maoist in 2026, not a Maoist in 1970. Okay, like those are different things. What's some other fun schizo left ideology? I should show you guys what I'm talking about. This is called "My Leftism is Building a Lot of Bunkers." Hold on, let me just. Basically, he was like, Mao is too much of a pussy. It was the Albanian communists, and they were like, we're gonna just build bunkers everywhere. Every man gets a bunker. After the death of Stalin and the Sino-Albanian split, he extended his social imperialist critique to the Soviet Union and China. Fucking based. He was like, China and the Soviet Union are too pussy. The Albanian communists were crazy. Okay, what was another one? Posadism is a classic. I can't spell it. Posadist. There it is. Oh, yeah. They believed that in order for capitalism to be destroyed, we needed to have a strategic nuclear war. So to destroy capital, we need to have a strategic nuclear war. So like Star Trek, we got to do Star Trek, bro. Including, so, and then aliens, the Vulcans, they will see it and they will come. Because the aliens will see that nuclear isotopes could only be formed by nuclear fission weapons and fusion weapons. So the aliens will realize there's intelligent life on our planet, and they'll come and they'll help us. And because they're space travelers, they will be communists. Because communism, to become a space traveler, you have to be communist. Sadism attempts to introduce elements of UFOlogy into Marxist thought, arguing that only communism could allow the development of interplanetary travel. They concluded that visiting aliens from other planets must live in highly advanced communist societies and are bound to help Earth-based communists with bringing about world revolution. So they believe that it would be Star Trek, but their prime directive would be to spread communism as opposed to not interfere. So Glorp would come and be like, you guys aren't communists yet? Let me help you. At the height of the Cold War, Posadis thought nuclear wars inevitable. He asserted that a nuclear-armed socialist state should launch a preemptive nuclear attack that would destroy the nuclear capabilities of capitalist countries. Additionally, he believed that a nuclear catastrophe between the United States and USSR would spark the world revolution. He vocally opposed the partial test ban treaty signed in 1963 by the United States, the USSR, and the United Kingdom. So, legitimately, probably one of the most popular schizo versions. They were actually pretty popular, to be honest with you. Sadism was way more popular than you think. All right, what other schizo versions of leftism? I mean, of course, and arco-primitivism. I mean, everybody knows about this. Like, everybody makes fun of this shit. Like, everybody knows about this one. I mean, we've made fun of the An-Prim anthem, right? J-Reg did this years and years ago.
Come, tribe, let us make fire. Phone. Bad. Make. Mad. Make. Mad. Make. Me no think technocratic life very healthy. Me would rather run free than serve the needs of the wealthy. Me no want your factories that squeeze me to capital knees. Kill the birds and all the bees. Me would rather flee to trees. Anthem, anthem, anthem. Tribe member dead? Very sad, very sad. From a scrape on his head? Very sad, very sad. No way to prevent this, no, not at all. No way to prevent this, so yours falls. Me no libertarian, no boogaloo. Only booga we do is ooga booga boo. Ooga booga 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 booga.
Guess the subtitles are broken.
Booga 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 boo. Sing anthem, 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 anthem. And don't even get anthem started on Industrial Revolution. This may surprise you, but anthem no think Industrial Revolution very good at all. Anthem, 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 anthem. Transhumanism, big mistake. Me no want no chip in brain. Phone bad, big mistake. Electricity, big mistake. Agriculture, big mistake. Everything, big mistake. To speak of tribes that unify, not atomize, tried on the vine. Me speak of love and not of hate, but even speaking, big mistakes. So ooga, booga, ooga, booga, ooga, booga, ooga.
So basically, anarcho-primitivism is that human beings should return to our natural state prior to agriculture or society or technology, medicine. We should return to hunter-gatherer, return to monkey, basically. Primitives argue that domestication, technology, and language cause social alienation from authentic reality. They propose the abolition of civilization and return to a hunter-gatherer lifestyle. So again, you want a more schizo lefts, there you go. What's the other one? I mean, the Shining Path are pretty schizo. What a fever dream of time to think in. Oh God. Marxist, Leninism, Maoism, Gonzalo thought. They were very successful. Regarding violence, we start from the principle established by Chairman Mao Zedong. Violence is a universal law without any exception. I mean revolutionary violence. This violence is what allows us to resolve the fundamental contradictions within an army and through people's war. It is a substantive question of Marxism because without revolutionary violence, one class cannot be replaced by another. An old order cannot be overthrown to create a new one. A new order led by the proletariat through communist parties. And he had blood quota. A revolutionary must be willing to sacrifice their life for the global proletarian revolution. Under this doctrine, Shining Path militants were encouraged to embrace extreme measures, including acts of terrorism, to mobilize support and suppress opposition. Hatred and violence were deliberately incited to gain adherence to their cause, with cruelty and fear leveraged as tools for control and obedience. Yeah, let's just say these guys were a little bit pro-terrorism. All right, so those are some schizo left-wing tendencies that, you know, not necessarily the best. So when we talk about Maoism, we're not really talking about the history of the Chinese Revolution. We're talking about something that is a more modern conceptualization of kind of this social and political like the way that anarchists believe that revolution will occur, there will be a simultaneous social and political and economic revolution that tears down everything, and it happens all at once right now. Sort of like the push the communism button stupid. That's not what Maoism is. And before people try to disagree with me, I'm describing the people that call themselves Maoists today. Okay, that's what I'm describing. Am I opposed to the mass line? No, of course not. What's my opinion on syndicalism? I mean, we have the state. Seems anachronistic. We have the state. Might as well just use the state. Opinion on illegalism. Oh, fuck me. Excuse me. I think the main thing I disagree with modern Maoists about is the idea that the lumpen proletariat is the most revolutionary class. I think that is pretty definitively proven. It's not to say that lumpen proles can't be organized. Of course, they absolutely can. But the idea that the lumpen proles are like the way that we're going to organize a revolutionary movement has not borne out to be accurate in my belief, in my experience. So that's the thing that I largely take issue with. MAGA communism is dumb. Yes, although they're not the same thing. That literally explains it. Yeah, I mean, that's my, I mean, like, look at what's happening in our country today. Who are the people that are radicalizing first? They are people that are educated, but they are economically precarious. So they are people that are able to understand their position, analyze society, and then organize collectively. So we're seeing people that are like, you know, middle income, the proletarian, the service industry worker. You know, those are the people that are able to put a framework on the oppression and the exploitation that's happening in our society, right? It's not people that are the most hyper exploited or marginalized that are forming into a coherent political grouping. It's not to say they can't be organized and their plight isn't important. It absolutely is. And I'm seeing us make gains with all of them. But I'm just saying that the core of the revolutionary struggle has not seemed to coalesce around organizing the criminal element. You know, King of Rome right now, the most revolutionary class is the petit bourgeois. Actually, I would say the petit bourgeois are the swing. I think that there's plenty of petit bourgeois that are radical left wingers actually right now, as well as radical right. Here's the context for the, oh, thank you so much. Today, Congressman Hillary Scholten issued the following statement after Twitch streamer Hassan Piker said the American Jews who support Israel are inciting violence. The streamer Piker directly discussed the targeted Michigan State Senator Jeremy Moss, showing his picture while stating that eventually so will come out around and take action not against Israel, but against American Jews. Hassan Piker's cause for violence against American Jews and directly naming a Michigan elected official are unacceptable. Full stop. Piker is a hack who thrives on hate, shock, and awe because he lacks substance. Dangerous for everyone. We should all be calling out this disgusting rhetoric so he loses its grip. That's not what he said. He didn't call for violence. He was saying if people use Jewish identity and say that Israel, criticizing Israel as bigoted against Jews, is going to cause anti-Semitism to grow. Again, that's not what he said. That's the exact opposite of his meaning. I believe all Americans the right to advocate for what they believe without fear of violence. This is particularly true for communities that have been intimidated for their beliefs in the past. My commitment to Jewish safety is the same as my commitment for the safety of my own daughters. Anti-Semitism is scourge. We need to address it all its forms, and I stand against any rhetoric that puts the community at risk. But I want to be crystal clear. Nobody speaks for this campaign besides me, my campaign spokespeople. While politicians and pundits try to make this race about a Twitch streamer, going to be talking about gas, groceries, good schools, and healthcare. Because that's what Michiganders keep asking about. That's why I'm fighting to get money out of politics, money in your pocket, and Medicare for all. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, okay.
You want to know why? Because people don't fuck with Israel any.
2,000 like tweets are what people are responding to now. It had 1.6 million views. Nobody gives a fuck.
Longer. And if Jews in America keep putting this idea out there that they are singular.
Okay, can I just say one thing? You can never say Jews and then as a group and then criticize it. It's just not something that you should ever do. Never do that. Okay? Because the moment you do that, people are going to say that you're being anti-Semitic. Don't do that. Hassan literally just threw Hassan under the bus. He didn't. No, he did not. What they're trying to do is trap Abdul into either condemning or defending Hassan. That is a waste of all of our time. Who gives a shit? Hillary Scholten is a Republican. Even the soy pill thinks this is dumb as fuck. He's saying that if American Jews tie their identity to Israel and their actions, people are going to take their grievances with Israel's horrific actions on American Jews. And he's saying it's a bad thing. The same way Muslims got blamed for 9/11, except they didn't tie themselves to Al-Qaeda. Exactly. That's exactly right. And this is the uncomfortable thing. Jews in America oppose what Israel is doing in Gaza. A majority of Jews might describe themselves as Zionist, but the majority of Jews in America also oppose what Israel is doing in Gaza. There's a contradiction there that they're working through as a community, right? That all of us should be sensitive to. But a lot of the groups that identify as representing American Jews are viciously pro Netanyahu. And that is the inconsistency that Hassan is pointing out. Is that if people are calling themselves the American Jewish Council, but they're really just a pro-Netanyahu group, that is a contradiction that should be clarified. Do you represent American Jewish people, or are you advocating on behalf of Israel? And those things should be separated. American Jewish people are not represented by the actions of Israel in any way. And any hate that goes towards American Jewish people as a group is wrong. Like, that is what Hassan is saying. He is not blaming American Jews for the actions of Israel. In fact, it is anti-Semitic to equate the two, which is what he's saying.
Really invested in Israel, eventually someone's going to come around and take action, not against the state of Israel, mind you, but against American Jews. Okay? We're teaching people the wrong lesson. I don't know how people don't recognize how dangerous this predicament is, how dangerous this is for Jews. You're running around basically tying your entire identity.
Okay, so again, this is kind of the fake anti-Semitism smear tactic, which is if you ever say Jews, you cannot then say they're doing anything as a group. You just can't do that. I understand that what Hassan is saying here is not anti-Semitic, but this is just how they kind of like hyperventilate. When I say they, I'm talking about bad faith conservative smear merchants. They will try to, that's the they, will try to use this as evidence of anti-Semitism because they don't actually give a shit about anti-Semitism. Of course they don't. We do care about anti-Semitism.
To a country that inevitably will be seen as basically Jewish ISIS, and you're saying, as Jews,
yes,
this is all we care about.
I saw you.
You're making anti-Semitism worse. And you want to know why? Because people don't fuck with Israel any longer. And if Jews in America keep putting this idea out there that
I think that, like, if I had any criticism for Hassan, and it's very minor, I would just say avoid saying Jews in America. Say specifically the group that you're talking about, Zionist organizations, not Jews in America. Zionist organizations in America who are loyal to Israel are attempting to make American Jews responsible for the actions of Israel. And that which is ironically anti-Semitic. That's and I'm surprised, like, I'll be honest with you, Chad, I'm kind of surprised he's spoken this way because he's usually pretty good at making this distinction. Again, doesn't mean anything.
Is reform and deeply Zionist, it's difficult to even approach trying to change their. As an anti-Zionist Jewish person whose temple is reform and deeply Zionist, it's difficult to even approach trying to change their minds. No, I understand that. I understand that. I mean, look, to the anti-Zionist Jews in my community, you have a very tough job ahead of you. Well, you have to go back to your communities and try to get your elderly relatives to understand that this connection between Israel and Zionism that is expressed over and over again through a lot of these Jewish institutions, okay, is teaching people the idea that Jews are monolithic. And this is it's a very dangerous mode of propaganda. And you want to know why? Because people don't fuck with Israel any longer. And if Jews in America keep putting this idea out there that they are singularly invested in Israel, eventually someone's going to come around and take action, not against the state of Israel, mind you, but against American Jews. Okay? We're teaching people the wrong lesson. At the end of the day, American Jews do not prioritize Israel, but they do prioritize anti-Semitism. And that's precisely the reason why a lot of this propaganda that is facing the American Jewish side from a lot of these Jewish outlets, right, will tie the two all the time. And we hear that from outlets like ZBS as well, right? All the time. And we hear that from outlets like ZBS as well, right? When the host asked Angie Nixon, like, oh, well, don't you think we shouldn't stop giving weapons to Israel at a time when anti-Semitism is exploding? Where's the connective tissue between these two events? American Jews do care about anti-Semitism. It's understandable to care about anti-Semitism. They don't care about Israel. So how do you tie the two? You say, well, Israel is the only thing standing in the way of the next Holocaust happening. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. So every single time you have prominent Zionist Jews come out and be like, no, this is anti-Semitic. To oppose Israel is anti-Semitic. You're teaching people the trope of dual loyalty.
Maoist third worldism and internet Maoism, unlike the armed peasant struggles in India or the Philippines, modern American Maoism has largely migrated online in the niche intellectual subcultures. That's what I was making fun of. Not people in the third world doing armed struggle, okay? Like, obviously, I'm making fun of the internet subcultures.
That's what you're teaching people. after you teach them that, you can't turn around and say, oh, well, this is dual loyalty. This is anti-Semitic. Because at a certain point, people are not going to give a shit. And we're already past that point. It's that simple.
So basically, once again, this is like my general feeling about Hassan is he should DMCA anybody who clips his things to mean something different than what he actually said. A good example of this is Mark Ruffalo criticizing the Paramount merger. He's been called anti-Semitic for opposing a media monopoly. That's insane. Of course, because he criticizes Israel. Soypill, go show this to your Jewish mom. Tell me what she thinks. Oh, is Soypill got a Zionist family? All right. I mean, like, and this, ladies and gentlemen, like this kind of, guys, Hassan Piker is supporting anti-Semitism. Are you gonna fall for that?
So Donald Trump did a rally, or I guess 2 days ago at this point. Yeah, August 21st, 8/21, a day that will live in infamy. And in the rally, he called me out. He called Abdul El-Sayed out. He said Abdul El-Sayed's mom gave money to Osama bin Laden or some just like doing everything they possibly can to claim that Abdul El-Sayed is a terrorist. Yeah, he called me out on 8/21. He really did. A day that will live in infamy. A day that will live in infamy on this broadcast. Okay, no matter what, we can't get away from the 8/21 curse. Just watch Dana Bass ask Scott Jennings if an Indy car is what Trump should be focusing when voters' main concern is affordability, and that man's answer was he saw a video on social media of Hassan Piker celebrating the death of that podcaster. I mean, isn't this one of the accounts that hates me though? I feel like even they're coming to my side a little bit. The Butt Hassan has allowed slop tubers to unironically get away with like allegations. The Butt Hassan derangement syndrome has been such a powerful force on YouTube that has anchored a lot of this resentment that has been a...
I'm pretty sure, like, you know, I think there is some sort of severe algorithmic adjustment happening on YouTube because videos on YouTube act differently than videos on every other website. Like, I feels like YouTube is very politically manipulated, more so than like, I think people don't really understand it. Like, even on TikTok, owned by the Ellisons, there is less political manipulation than there is on YouTube. Like, YouTube heavily supports certain types of like incel content.
A deflection method, quite successful deflection method at times. And it's kind of wild that we're now seeing it with prominent American politicians, prominent commentators in mainstream media. They'll be like, hey, this is a murder trial. You're gonna go to prison for life. You murdered your wife and your children, and you'll have the defendant get up there and be like, well, Your Honor, but Hassan. That's where we're at. That's literally where we're at. I did not realize that this is where we were gonna get to, but we are there. All right, here's Donald Trump doing the Abdul El-Sayed is a terrorist shtick.
Michigan, the Democrat nominee for Senate, Abdul El-Sayed, admitted openly that he wants to pack the Supreme Court with 23 far-left justices to shred the Constitution of the United States. His sister, very close relationship, celebrated the terrorist slaughter of babies on October 7th. His mother worked for an organization that gave hundreds of thousands of dollars to a gentleman named Osama bin Laden. Have you heard of him? Knocked down the World Trade Center.
I can't talk to him anymore.
She gave him a lot of money, and he recently campaigned with a communist fanatic who says that America deserved 9/11. We deserved it, right?
I never, in 2019, on that fateful afternoon when I was reacting to Dan Crenshaw saying all that dumb on the Joe Rogan Experience, I never thought that 7 years later, the president of the United States of America would refer to it exactly 7 years after the fact. 7 years to the day. Now, of course, what's frustrating about this is Donald Trump has called in on the morning of 9/11 with joy, with glee in his voice, to a local news station to talk about how Trump Tower was now the tallest tower on Wall Street, now that the Twin Towers have been destroyed. But I guess it doesn't really matter. They get to say whatever the they want. They're Republicans, right? Republicans get to own patriotism. They get to own 9/11. No one else is allowed to talk about it.
Deserved all that death, destruction. In Texas, the Democrat nominee for Senate said he hates Christianity and that the 10 Commandments are a form of fascism. The 10 Commandments are fascism.
By the way, if we were treating Trump in the way that like the media treats me, this is how it would look.
America deserved 9/11. We deserved it, right? We deserved all that death, destruction.
Wow, I can't believe that the president said that. Can you believe that the president said that? How f***ed up, right? Like, this is literally what the Republicans are doing. This is what the Republican midterm strategy is, okay? Unironically, and at least he's the president, so doing it to him makes a little bit more sense. They're doing this to me, a Twitch streamer. Yeah, this is when he called in.
You have one of the landmark buildings down in the financial district, 40 Wall Street. Did you have any damage, or did you know what's happened down there?
Well, it was an amazing phone call I made. 40 Wall Street actually was the second tallest building in downtown Manhattan, and it was actually, before the World Trade Center, was the tallest. And then when they built the World Trade Center, it became known as the second tallest, and now it's the tallest.
By the way, he said that on 9/11, the morning of 9/11. Man, I love you, but you cannot go around campaigning with politicians and still call yourself a Twitch streamer. I am just a Twitch streamer. I am. But regardless, that's not a cop-out. Like, my point is, I'm not saying, oh, I'm just a Twitch streamer as like as some kind of cop-out. It is ridiculous. Even if I was a politician and saying this, okay, even if I was a politician, obviously the expectation is very different from a politician, right?
Is there a way to increase the size of the chat? You could go back to the old format. There is an option, by the way, if you are in the vertical format on your mobile phone and you're not loving it, you can change the format. You can use the old format, you know? If you don't like looking at such big mic, if you hate the big mic.
And then you should look at what the Republicans are saying and doing, and then figure out whether or not what I'm saying and doing is anywhere near as crazy as what they're saying and doing is. Do you understand? That's the other side of the story that's also frustrating, because people are not even comparing what my worldview is or what my statements are and applying the same standard to the goddamn president of the United States of America. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's so frustrating. This double standard makes me more mad than anything else. Like, I'm not saying this because I'm at the heart of this. You know, obviously that changes it a little bit for me. But this is something that I've been pissed off about my whole damn life, dude. It's not new. I hated it when they were doing this to Democrats as well. Democrats that I don't even like that much. I can't stand it. I can't stand this double standard. They just constantly cry bully, and the Democrats always let them get away with it. We have to stop with this. Stop backing down.
Communism is the single greatest threat to our country in history, including World War I, World War II, Pearl Harbor, 9/11. And that's why we're going to crush the radical Democrats at the ballot box this November. And we're going to defeat communism in America once and for all. We're going to defeat it. It's never worked. It's dirty. It's filthy. It's unhappy. Did you ever see a happy communist? You ever see a communist laugh? I never saw it. I've known communists. They don't laugh. They're very unhappy people. We want to be happy. With your vote for Darlene on Tuesday, we are going to send a message straight to the Democrat Party headquarters in Washington. We're going to tell them that we will never abolish ICE. We will never surrender our Constitution. And we will never allow our country to even think about being a communist or even a socialist country. We're not going to let it happen.
The fact that he's scared to say Hassan's name. Like, I need you guys to understand something. He's more afraid to say Hassan's name. Like, that's what it is. The president of the United States of America is afraid to say Hassan's name. And I've been telling you this for a long time. Like, again, show the clip. I'm sure a clip is out there of me saying this weeks ago, months ago, that he knows exactly who Hassan Piker is. He's not saying his name because he believes that Hassan is exactly the type of person that he cannot beat. Assad is the exact opposite of everything that people say that a left-winger is. He breaks all the stereotypes, and he demonstrates a version of masculinity that is both strong and feminist. That's supposed to be impossible. He is successful, and yet he's compassionate. He didn't step on people to get where he is. He grew in cooperation and coordination with others. He's kind and authentic, vulnerable, pluralistic, and open. He's generous with other people. Like, everything they say doesn't work, Hassan has done and accomplished. And so Donald Trump is frightened to say his name because he understands if he elevates Hassan as an interlocutor, as somebody that he's attacking, then Hassan will be empowered. And if Hassan is empowered, the left is empowered. And the left is the only threat to capital at this point. I need you guys to understand that we are on a dangerous road. And there is only one part of human politics that has any hope of containing the risks of the oligarchy, of climate change, of AI, of all that shit. There's only one side that has any hope, and that's the left. And so the destruction of Hassan is their joint goal. And the other thing you have to understand about Hassan and why centrist Democrats are so fixated on Hassan is because Hassan isn't gatekept. Hassan is powerful on his own initiative. He doesn't need Barack Obama to go on the stream. He doesn't need Michelle Obama to go on the stream. He doesn't need the Democratic Party's money, right? He is organically powerful. He can bring a candidate on his stream, raise the $50,000 of small dollar donations, get 500 people to make 100,000 phone calls at the drop of a hat. Imagine what he could do for candidates all around the country. He could basically take a candidate and supercharge them. Teach nitrous oxide into the engine of any progressive candidate. And the thing about the Democratic Party is it's ferociously weak and disconnected. And a lot of the people of power are just there because of inertia, because of a machine that was once powerful. And there is nobody on the bench. And they just have that office because as an individual, it can be hard to beat a machine. With Hassan Piker and his millions of fans, we can help build counter machines. And that's why they're fixated on him, because Hassan Piker is a bigger threat to centrist Democrats than the entire Republican Party. Donald Trump and the capitalists recognize that if Hassan Piker and the people he's aligned with, just look at Zohran Mamdani. Zohran Mamdani went on Hassan's stream when he was at what, 5% of the polls? Zohran Mamdani, if you listen to Hassan, you get Zohran Mamdani. If you listen to Hassan, you get Claire Valdez and AOC and Bernie Sanders and Melot Quiros and Summer Lee and Chris Rabb and Donovan McKinney and Abdul El Sayed. Can you look at every politician that he supports, and they're the best of us. And so everybody understands that power. Everybody understands. That is what Hassan represents. And what they're trying to do is create a false narrative, a weakening of Hassan. They want to make Hassan hesitate. They want politicians to hesitate. They want to attach negativity to Hassan. And either we fight back now, because if we can't defend Hassan, who's going to be bigger than Hassan? Who's going to be bigger than Hassan in the online space in 2028 on the left? Who's going to be the big leftist content creators that are going to take the mantle of Hassan and promote DSA candidates and socialist candidates and progressive candidates? The answer is no one. My role is further down the funnel than Hassan. Hassan is the wide end of the funnel. If Hassan's funnel narrows, my funnel narrows. Everybody on the left is hurt. If he is discredited, if he is damaged, he is the wide funnel. He's the one who has all the connections to the normie content creators. He's the one who has the biggest reach and the most social and political capital. If he's hurt, we are all hurt. There is no upside. And that is the reality. That's why they're so intensely going after them, because they finally recognize our power. Mike, why do leftists not understand this, what the capitalist class does themselves? Sometimes it feels like we're stupid. Well, how do I put this? Most of you are content consumers. I am Wizard of Oz, or I'm Dorothy's dog, whatever. I see behind the curtain. I see the levers. You see the smoke and the fireworks and the shine. You don't see the fucking machine. You don't see how it's all bullshit. You don't see how the levers are pulled. You are entranced by the show. You're not understanding the mechanism. And a lot of people are addicted to, and I don't know how else to put this, they are addicted to social media dopamine, and they're highly individual. And the other thing is, you guys are spending less time offline and in the real world. You're having less person-to-person contacts. You're hanging out less. That's just, and I'm not condemning any of you in the chat. I'm just describing social phenomenon that are observed. People are spending way more time on screens and less time on hobbies and hangouts, and they have less friends and they have less lovers and they're less likely to be in a union. They're more atomized, individual, neoliberal subjects. And one thing about Hassan is, ironically, we are using the master's tools against them. We have reformulated these communities. We have actually created these networks. And we are just copying what happened in Mexico. In Mexico, they did something very similar in Mexico and to what we're trying to do to the Democratic Party. The left in Mexico did what we're trying to do to the Democratic Party in America. Now, I've got my criticisms of Moderna, of Morena, excuse me, not Moderna, Morena. I have my criticism of Claudia, I have my criticisms of Anlo. They're not perfect socialists or whatever. They are social democrats, probably too conservative for me on a lot of shit. I wish they would, like, I understand why they're acting the way they are. I understand the arguments for what they're doing, okay? I wish they would do a little bit more, But they destroyed the so-called neoliberal center-left coalitions, and they are reformulating, Mexican politics in a completely new direction. We need to do the same. And so projects like ours are key mobilizers. And honestly, like the accusations of anti-Semitism, I don't think that Abdul should have said anything. I think that was fucking stupid. The other thing is, we've got to get sharper against our enemies. We've got to put them on the back feet. What happened to Anthony Weiner when he got primaried in San Francisco? Notice that when he's getting primaried, suddenly he's not saying shit about Israel, right? He's sitting there quiet. Oh, he's anti-genocide now. We have to primary every fucking Zionist. We got to put them on the defense. We have to scare them. Did I say Anthony Weiner? Sorry, Scott Weiner. AIPAC is such a burden for candidates. Even traditional Republican ones such as Mike Rogers and his allies have asked the PAC not to advertise on his behalf. Mike Rogers, AIPAC rupture Royals Michigan Senate race. Rogers spoke with AIPAC chair Michael Tukshin in Los Angeles last week. God, this is such a fucking cosmopolitan capitalist class. How do you people fall for this? How does anybody fall for this shit? It's shocking to me that anyone falls for this garbage. He chills out in Los Angeles with his AIPAC handlers. And you got America first. I'm from Michigan. How the fuck do you guys fall for this shit? The next day, AIPAC shelved an already cut video ad targeting Rogers' Democratic rival, outspoken Israel critic Abdul El-Sayed. God. Given its burgeoning toxicity among voters, AIPAC is increasingly reverting to the bundling supporter fundraising model it used for decades before declaring. It's spectacularly losing a formal endorsement war on jstreet.org and other peace and diplomacy-oriented groups in 2021. Rogers attended 3 AIPAC-hosted fundraisers in LA on Sunday. Another is planned for Monday. And by the way, if people say like, oh my God, you're saying Jewish donors, and this is something that like Hutch and Destiny try to argue, by the way, is that if you say, wow, this is AIPAC money, they go, you mean Jewish money? You're just being anti-Semitic. And it's like, no, they gave out AIPAC fundraisers. Why it matters. The extraordinary tension underscores how far AIPAC's political standing has fallen amid voters' anger over the war in Gaza. Even Rogers, a staunchly pro-Israel Republican, fears the group's public support could be a liability in the November 3rd election. The move by Rogers' team angered AIPAC officials who had spent more than $30 million to try to defeat El-Sayed in the Democratic primary, prepared to spend millions more to help elect Rogers. Honestly, they might be deciding to pull out because this is an unwinnable state. Like if I were AIPAC, honestly, I would pull out. Like this is an unwinnable. They're not going to win Michigan. Like honestly, they should be playing defense in Florida. If I were the Republican, I would be playing defense in Iowa and Florida. I would give up Michigan and Maine. I mean, maybe you defend Maine because you have an incumbent, but you give up Michigan, you give up North Carolina. They're not happening. You play defense in Ohio, Iowa, Florida, Texas. Give up the fuck. You're not winning any of the other. You're not winning Michigan. You're not winning North Carolina. You're not winning. You're probably not going to win Maine. But I guess you have to play defense because you have an incumbent. It's fucking over. Democratic voters in multiple states were asked if they believe Israel is committing a genocide. Percent who say reducing support for Israel will play a role in their vote. Is this Democratic or all voters? I think this is all voters. So 55% of voters in Virginia want aid cut to Israel. 59 in New Mexico, 65 in Michigan, 63 in New Hampshire, 61 in Nevada, and 46 in South Carolina. Is Israel committing genocide against Palestinians? Likely Democratic primary voters in Michigan. 80% yes, 3% no. I mean, like, look at this shit. Should the U.S. sanction Israel? Yes, 68%. Would you prefer to support a candidate for president who would cut off weapons to Israel? 75%. Will provide weapons to Israel? 5%. John Ossoff is fucking so toast. I might start making John Ossoff hate videos. I've held off, but he's doing these victory laps and he's obviously raising money to run for president. So I feel like we might need to start doing more John Ossoff hate videos. He's going to the Hamptons to raise money for his presidential campaign. Basically, what he's going to do is he's going to raise money for his Senate campaign and not spend it. And then he's going to do a campaign transfer to another campaign committee. So he's going to start off with, like, say 30 or 40 million in his presidential account that people spent on him thinking he was in a swing Senate seat. You're allowed to do that because as long as the donations followed the campaign finance rules when they came in, you're allowed to transfer them to another related PAC. So that's probably what he's going to do. Turkey to seek Interpol notice for Netanyahu and Gaza flotilla case. Turkey seeks Interpol red notice after issuing domestic warrants for Netanyahu and another suspect. Oh? Well, I didn't see that. I just realized something, chat. We are 4 hours into the stream and I forgot the shill. And that was a major mistake because right now, because Twitch is experimenting with this vertical video bullshit, for every 5 subs you gift, Twitch will give me a free sub, thereby reducing their cut from 30% to 5%. Wow. So right now, you could support the stream for basically no fees by subscribing, by gifting 5 subs or more. That also includes tier 3 gifties. Just say. Also, if you subscribe at tier 2, you could use GIFs, I guess, or GIFs in the chat. I love vertical mode. I'm watching in mobile while taking care of kids and doing housework. Awesome. Anyway, if you would like to support the stream, now would be an amazing time. Please gift subs. Thank you. You can also support the stream by giving bits or, I don't know, do my direct donations still work? I have to go check. I might have to go and like fix them. I hate the new vertical mode. You can watch the old version, still exists. It's in your settings. Okay, Snowflake Ninja gifted 24 subs. You got 4 bonus subs sponsored by Twitch's dual format. The Bulwark and other corpo outlets have switched their content to Ossoff glazing. They're setting up their guy. It's no small part because they heard leftists might be indifferent to a nomination of him. We should have never given it an inch. You're telling that to Mike from Pennsylvania. Have I not been the internet's greatest warrior against Andy Bashir, against Gretchen Whitmer, against John Ossoff from the jump? Have I not been the person who's, while the 35,000 Hassan chatters are like, I like Andy Bashir, Mike. I like Andy Bashir. What do you mean? He is acknowledging that you are correct. Wow, was I right? Wow, was I right before everyone else? Wow. I'm hearing this for the first time. Oh, this video, what kind of did decent, Jules. John Ossoff is not sponsoring a minimum wage increase, does not sponsor Medicare for all, does not sponsor college for all. He voted to fund ICE, voted to fund the National Defense Authorization Act. You know, he voted for Israeli funding, block bomb sales to Israel, voted no. That was back in, last year. He voted to cut Medicaid for states that cover immigrants charged with certain offenses. 91% of Democrats voted against cutting Medicaid from states. Only him, Cortez Masto, and Maggie Hassan voted yes. Fucking John Fetterman voted no. I mean, voting to the right of 92% of Democrats on cutting Medicaid. Like, that's insane, guys. He voted for the crypto bill, and then he skipped a bunch of bills where he didn't even show up. What the fuck was he doing in June of last year? Missing votes. John Ossoff is not sponsoring a minimum wage increase, does not sponsor Medicare for all, does not sponsor... I mean, I would actually say that John Ossoff may be one of the worst Democratic senators in Congress And that's why I don't even understand why Bulwark likes them, right? Like, I guess because they're Republicans? Why do you want to reward someone for voting against the party on our biggest issues? Why are you trying to advance the career of someone who has blocked where 90% of Democrats are on issues? Why would that be something you want to reward? Can you imagine the Republicans electing someone who voted in favor of abortion rights? Why are we inviting ourselves to support someone who's against us on the most important issues? And by the way, Medicare for all and a Green New Deal and college debt relief are not mamby-pamby issues for weaklings. They are vital for the future of the country. But he's there to vote for bombs for Israel. He's there to vote for wars. Any clue why people like him so much? He's interpersonally catty with Trump. It's like watching two drag queens slapping at each other. That's on the reality television show Politics. That's what it is. He cattily makes fun of his girlfriend and his hair. That's what it is. It is catty Stan bullshit. It's WWE politics. I'm here talking about ideas. I want to raise the minimum wage. I want to fix our fucking immigration system. I want to stop ICE. I want your family to have an opportunity to own their own home or live in a perfectly affordable, high quality social housing. I want clean air. I want quality public transit. I want a functional fucking society. And we're talking about him gossiping about Trump's girlfriends. Grow up. It's embarrassing. It's not cute. And like, listen, I'm all in favor of having fun. I'm not saying we can't make fun of that fat, greasy fuck. Be dark woke. Make fun of Trump. That's fine. But can you, like, eat some vegetables with your cotton candy? If 100% of someone's career, this is John Ossoff's career. Again, I'm showing you that he's the 38th most conservative Democrat. And he underperformed electorally the other Democratic senator in his own state, Raphael Warnock. Why is Raphael Warnock not the presidential candidate? Because he's a black man? You fucking racists? He's got a better electoral record, and he's to the left of John Ossoff. Why the fuck is he not getting the attention? He's a better speaker than John Ossoff with his fake put upon Barack Obama, copying. Barack Obama's from Illinois. You're from Georgia. Why do you sound the same? And by the way, he's not the Mitt Romney of the Democratic Party. Mitt Romney passed new policies. John Ossoff would vote against the policies that Mitt Romney passed. He's to the right of Mitt Romney. I think you guys are not understanding that this guy would have been to the right of Mitt Romney. This is who you want because he was catty about Trump? Cobb Like a Top, thank you for the 20 gifted subs. GT Buzzsaw, M Gauntlet, Get a Grip, Puppy, Ham and Fist, Snowflake Ninja. Guys, we are like racking up the bonus subs. Let's just see. We just got Twitch to pay what? 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 13, 17, 18. 18 gifted subs from extra subs from Twitch. 18 get extra subs. Let's fucking go. So thank you so much for supporting the stream. You guys are the best. Right now, Twitch would be literally third place of the most gifted subs for the week because of this bonus opportunity. Take advantage. Gift those subs today. I do hate Romney revisionism. Romney care was originally meant to be used as a pejorative for the damage he did to the original intent of Mass Health. It's originally going to be a single-payer system, but Romney said he would veto it, so they had to scale it back. Yes, no shit. But the point is, he signed that, and John Ossoff would not. John Ossoff would vote against expanding our health system, which is exactly what I'm showing you. John Ossoff is to the right of Mitt Romney. That is not a debate. College for all. He voted to fund ICE. Harmonious Cacophony, thank you so much. And like, this is the reality. Grow the fuck up.
Why? Well, I don't know. I don't know.
This guy has a kill your local shirt on. Normally, guys that wear that are like always right wing, could be a former Trump fan turned Trump hater. It's pretty awesome. You are a devolving old man, like look who's you're a devolving old man, look who's talking. No, guys who normally wear like kill your local style shirts, unironically big fans of Trump. The Hogs are losing the rally energy. They can't eat half of their treats and is showing at the spots where they used to hog out the most. I agree. The only one inciting violence against American Jews is Piker and his rhetoric. For the future of our party, Democrats have to call out this hate and condemn these dangerous views. Anyone campaigning with them is a part of the problem. Whatever, Gottheimer. Buttheimer. They have not produced one single clip of you saying anything anti-Semitic ever, Law. I know. For a lot of these dudes, it's just criticizing Israel is the most anti-Semitic you can ever be. So that's why it doesn't matter. They just constantly point to that. They go, look at all the shit that he says about Israel. Obviously, that's it. That's all it is. That's all they got.
That's all right. That person's going home to mom, going to get scolded because mom is voting for us. You know? Mom is voting.
The fact that you're having to rally in South Carolina. Ooh. And ladies and gentlemen, the Donald Trump approval ratings.
So, Ahmed.
They are dropping. And it's something that I posted this weekend. I think a lot of people, you need to start getting a lot more fucking excited about Angie Nixon. You guys need to get a hell of a lot more excited about Angie Nixon. Because the Donald Trump fear is palpable. Take a look at the counties where Donald Trump is unpopular. It's in purple. I don't know if you noticed. That's where everybody lives. If you're looking at the counties that are in purple, that's where people live. Take a look at Pennsylvania as an example. That purple county right here. Let me see if I can open this image in a new tab so I could really zoom in. Because I really want to zoom in and I want to show you Pennsylvania. Okay. Hold on. Let me I need to zoom in even more. More. Okay. No. No. Okay. Okay. All right. We've got Pennsylvania. All right. You see this county right here? That's Pittsburgh. This county right here? That's Center County. That's where Penn State is. See this county over here? That's Erie. That's the 4th largest city of Pennsylvania. Then we have Philadelphia. Then we have the Collars. Then we have Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Or sorry, Allentown, Pennsylvania. Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Then we have like Scranton and Wilkes-Barre. And then we have Dauphin County. This is Harrisburg area. This is Scranton. This is Allentown, Bethlehem. This is Philadelphia. This is Center County where Penn State is. So literally where everyone lives despises fucking Trump. There is no place where people actually live that doesn't despise Donald Trump. He's losing Lancaster for fuck's sake. And I don't know if you noticed, look at Massachusetts, look at Vermont, and look at this is the red flag for me. Look at Maine and look at New Hampshire. By the way, thank you guys to the level 12 hype train. You guys are the best. Motherfucking Massachusetts supremacy right there. So when I look at Pennsylvania, if this is how like Erie County is, okay, so here's some of the swing counties. Erie County, Lackawanna, Luzerne, Montgomery County, Bucks County, Lancaster County, Dauphin County, Susquehanna, maybe, Harbin County. Like, these are counties that should be green and they're purple as fuck. These counties up here have nobody in them. This right here is old growth forest. We're talking about there being 1,000 people that vote compared to like 1 million. This is Allegheny State Forest. There's nothing here. I'll show you what it looks like. Sorry, it's Allegheny National Forest. My B. Stocks. Well, maybe there is. Okay. Allegheny National Forest, Susquehanna State Forest, Sproul State Forest. There's nothing there. It's just mountainous forest. Literally nothing. Not even a road. So when you see like a map of Pennsylvania and you see those people going like, look how red that up north. Look how many people there are love Trump. It's like 5 guys, unironically. I mean, he's losing Cape May. Like, do you see this southern Jersey right here? Cape May out here. That shit has a Republican congressman. He's getting fucking destroyed, bro. I mean, goddamn, dude. Like, looking at these maps, like the North Carolina maps, the Virginia maps, this is landslide territory. Shapiro thinks PA9 will shut the fuck up. Josh Shapiro's a fucking moron.
Record low polling, and we're talking record low. A new projection shows President Trump's net approval rating is negative in 47 out of 50 states. That is according to The Economist and YouGov. Trump's net approval is minus 26. Going state by state, the data shows widespread dissatisfaction with Trump, even in places that voted for him in 2024. Ahead of the midterms, Trump has a negative net approval rating in all of the states where there are competitive Senate races this year. In Georgia, Trump's net approval is negative 31. In North Carolina, it's negative 25. In Maine, Trump's net approval is negative 31. In Texas, it is negative 22. And in Michigan, Trump's net approval is negative 27. So, Jonathan Lemire, I'm curious. It almost feels like Trump and his administration is going in one direction, and the will of the American people, the needs of the American people, the needs of our alliances around the world, they're headed in a completely different direction. So it seems like he doesn't care about these numbers. Am I wrong?
Well, Mika, my expert analysis on that polling is it's real bad. None of this is working for the president right now. That's why we have Republicans, really worried about this November. Many privately concede the House all but gone. The Senate feels like a true toss-up when a year ago at this time we would have said Republicans were heavily favored to keep at least the upper chamber, despite, of course, history telling us that the president, his party tends to do poorly in midterms. But you're right, Mika, in ticking through some of the issues here. The tariffs have been unpopular, and now we're at a renewed trade war with Canada. The Iran war, deeply unpopular, never sold by the president to the American people. All it has done is send prices soaring, particularly at the gas pump. And they've settled into a plan of economic pressure. Maybe that will work. And we are seeing some disagreement in Tehran as to how they want to approach the conflict. But even if this does work, it's probably going to be a long time, too late to save Republicans, perhaps, for this midterms. And we're seeing, of course, as we'll get into it a little bit later, even the president's efforts to try to lower beef prices. A lot of Republicans pushing back, saying, none of this is working right now. And John Heilman, it seems like, to Mika's point, the president largely detached from a lot of this. To Heilman, this is someone who has, seems to be focused solely on legacy, whether that's presiding over a number of America 250 events, including the Formula One race over the weekend, John Heilman, and of course, we seem to have lost John Heilman. We'll get him back in a moment. So we'll go to David French here instead. David French, if we have you, the president is focused on America 250 events. He's focused on things where he's trying to reshape physically Washington, D.C., and we saw the celebrations out of the White House because of the Supreme Court ruling at the end of last week that they could keep building the ballroom. And I even thought to myself, like, okay, that's the first, quote, good news headline that President Trump has received in a while. And yet, even that good news headline for him is not good for the American people. We see polling that this just reinforces the idea that the public is like, well, wait, he's out of touch. He only cares about what he cares about, not what actually impacts our lives.
Yeah, the ballroom is not a political victory for Donald Trump. Every day the ballroom is in the news is a bad day for Trump. This is not something the American people really want at all. When you're running through that, the thing that just strikes me when you're running through all of the events that have occurred that are dragging.
You haven't even talked about the Canadian thing. Like, how is Canada doing? Like, do Canadians understand? Like, are they just fucked? Like, what's going on? I think AOC should endorse and campaign with Angie Hard. I think they should let Bernie do it. I don't see what AOC brings to the table that Bernie doesn't.
Down his approval rating. It strikes me how just intentionally self-inflicted all of this damage is. You know, he comes into office, he inherits a border that was the American people were ready for him to close. He inherits an improving economy, and he inherits a declining inflation rate. He inherits declining crime rates. He was set for really smooth sailing for the next year, the next 2 years. And then he has provoked trade wars. He has initiated an actual war in the Middle East. You're beginning to get a sense that the world itself is spiraling out of control. You have expanding conflicts in Europe. The conflicts in Europe and Iran are starting to merge in some ways. And then this trade, every new headline, it's a new self-inflicted wound. This trade war with Canada, due to remarkable overreach in trade negotiations, it is sinking into the American people that this is self-inflicted. None of this is necessary. None of this is for them.
Yeah, and you know, the thing is, look at the last 2 weeks of columns from Peggy Noonan. Last week, she talked about how he was bored. That boredom is not a good trait for a president to have, that trouble comes. Trouble finds you when you're president of the United States. Here, Donald Trump goes out looking for trouble because he's bored. This week's column, she talks about, well, another thing that is going to, again, dragging these numbers down. The level of corruption is unprecedented. You heard Democrats being attacked nonstop. It really is such a joke. It's such a joke what Trump Republicans have been saying over the past decade about Hunter Biden, what they've been saying about corruption, what they've been saying about Nancy Pelosi. Donald Trump executed more trades for more money in his first year back than Nancy Pelosi's husband, not Nancy Pelosi herself, Nancy Pelosi's husband, who's in the business, traded throughout her entire congressional.
I mean, it's very clear that they are engaged in insider trading. Like, that's obviously true. But this is why you all need to be paying such close attention to the Nixon race. And this is something that I've seen a lot of like centrists trying to prevent people from getting excited about this race. But take a look at Donald Trump's approval of the state of Florida. I don't know if you guys could read this. Hold on. Let me open it in a new tab. It's kind of small. Do you approve of the way Donald Trump is handling his job as president? Refined by state Florida. And then when you look at the most recent polling, he's now at 53% disapprove and 42% approve. I'm sorry, but any state where the incumbent president is underwater by 9 points is a winnable state. That is a massive, massive, massively bad number. And I'm sorry, but there are a few other states where it is that bad. Like, it's legit. Like, if you go, let's take a look at some states. Let's do Iowa. Donald Trump, 54-37. Let's take a look at Ohio, 55-38. Let's take a look at Montana, 46% approve. That's +1. Let's take a look. What's another state people are talking about? Nebraska, 47% disapprove. It's another good state. Texas. So what I'm trying to say is Angie Nixon is in a state that is turning against Donald Trump. Texas is collapsing. I didn't realize it got this bad. Holy shit. That's like, I actually think, personally, I think they might win them all. I think Angie Nixon is going to win. Like, I think she might actually win. I got to get some actual results. Like, I need some modern polling. There hasn't been any polling, as far as I know, since the primary. Someone needs to poll Florida. There's a special challenge in Florida since Republicans have a 1 million. It doesn't matter. Most people are nonpartisan anyway. Who cares? Yes, it's a Republican leading state. So is Ohio. The point is that Donald Trump is so unpopular that even though states are, in a neutral year would be a Republican advantage, that's not we're in a bad year for Republicans. So we need to be taking advantage. Like 53-41 in Alaska. Like, ladies and gentlemen, the only poll that matters is election day. Okay. One of the things that we're trying to do is have people believe something is possible. Belief and morale are squirrely things. To do a thing, you have to first believe you could do that thing. You have to at least battle and strive for that thing. I am showing the people in Florida that an opportunity exists that they may never have believed and that I did not believe was possible until 1 week ago. I did not think Angie Nixon was going to win. She wasn't even on my radar because she was so outraised and she had no social media motion. I thought she was cooked. I didn't think that she had a chance, so I didn't pay attention. And I was wrong. I was wrong about that. And because new information came out showing that I was wrong, I changed my opinion based on the new information and I reevaluated the race. That's how you get intelligent, by the way, chat. Intelligence is not just always being right all the time. Being intelligent is being open to new information and being able to sort signal from noise. She had absolutely no name recognition. Back in July, it was 4250 when Angie Craig is basically Angie Craig. You mean Angie Nixon? Have the wrong name in this fucking graphic. Give me a better graphic. What I'm trying to say is this is a winnable race. In any other year, if you got rid of all your assumptions and you looked at this data, you would say this is a race we can win. So act like it. If you're in Florida, get involved with Angie Nixon's race because you can win. There's been a lot of discourse on Angie Nixon, and I just wanted to say this. She was asked if she identified as a Democratic, as a socialist, and I think she said no. And my reaction to Angie Nixon is she is what most recent new members to DSA are. They are progressives who, in the process of radicalization and organizing, have become attracted to DSA, and they're learning, but they haven't identified as a socialist yet. My guess is, with Angie Nixon, she was working with Oliver Larkin and Elijah, and they were giving her respect, and they were organizing with her, and she was attracted to DSA's ability to have volunteers show up, and she was interested in the politics, and so she was kind of being attracted to it. She probably, if we're being completely honest with ourselves, didn't think she was going to win either. And so we have this opportunity. We have a fresh DSA member, a new DSA member, an ally, a sympathizer of DSA, running in a Senate seat. Should we support that? Yes or no? I believe that leftists need to understand the difference between an opportunist and a sympathizer. There's two different types of progressives. You have the Angie Nixon, Abdul al-Sayed progressives, and you have the Elizabeth Warren, Mallory McMorrow style progressive. Those Elizabeth Warren and Mallory McMorrow, they punch left. You have the Abdul al-Sayed, you have the Angie Nixons. They work with us and they treat us as legitimate. We need to have more of them and less of these. Less McMorrows, less Warrens, more Nixons, more Abduls. It creates conditions that are better for us in the future. So we should, of course, support her. Critically, we should try to get some concessions. We need to have red lines. I would love for her to identify as a socialist. I would love for her to be part of our program, but we should be going to her in a positive exchange way, not in a demanding way, not in a fucking petulant way, but in a mature way. She was very successful with communities that we've struggled with, black and brown communities in the South. We need Angie Nixon more than she needs us. We should be, if she wants to associate with us, that's a win for us. Doesn't mean we need to give up any positions. Doesn't mean we need to allow people, obviously DSA should be about socialists, but it's about using these opportunities to organize and build credibility.
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org. I'm Anjali Kamath. We turn now to Florida, where the progressive state representative Angie Nixon pulled off a stunning victory last week in the Democratic Senate primary. Nixon defeated Alexander Vindman, a former Army intelligence officer who testified during Trump's first impeachment trial. Vindman was backed by the Democratic establishment, and his campaign raised more than 16 times as much cash as Nixon's campaign. Nixon has served in the Florida House of Representatives since 2020. In 2022, she made national headlines for leading sit-ins and other protests inside the Florida Capitol to protest a Republican move to redraw congressional maps. In November, Nixon will face incumbent Republican Senator Ashley Moody, who was appointed by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis to fill the seat of Marco Rubio, who resigned to serve as Secretary of State. If elected, Angie Nixon would become the only member of the Democratic Socialists of America in the Senate. She joined the group in June. Angie Nixon joins us now from Jacksonville. Welcome to Democracy Now!, Angie Nixon. Tell us how you defeated Alex Vindman.
Good morning. I'm so happy to be with you all today. I was able to defeat Alex Vindman because it was good old-fashioned grassroots organizing. I am a former union community organizer, and I've had the opportunity to travel all across the state of Florida over the past nearly 2 decades to build a diverse coalition of supporters and, just folks who I've been working with over the past few years, nearly 2 decades, I'm sorry. We actually were able to help increase the minimum wage. I was a statewide organizer with that ballot initiative, also helping with automatic rights restoration. And so it was just hustle. And so I'm super excited to be the Democratic nominee, and I'm glad to be here with you all today.
And Angie, you're facing off Republican Ashley Moody in November. Florida has gone to Trump twice. This is a deep red state. What is your strategy going to be?
It's not that deep red. Again, this propaganda where we assume defeat. It voted for Obama twice. It's a winnable state. Yeah, things have gotten worse there strategically. A lot of Republicans have moved there. There's been a collapse of the Democratic Party's legitimacy. But we are looking at a once-in-a-lifetime blue wave. Her opponent is weak. Her name is Moody, for fuck's sake. And Donald Trump is profoundly unpopular in Florida. She could win 50% plus one. She absolutely could win. And then if she wins, we get 6 years before they get another crack at her. So all we have to do is win once.
To win in November.
Strategy is going to expand on the strategy we had during the primary, just really going to meet people where they are. Unfortunately, my opponent likes to call me names, but that's because she doesn't have anything to show for it. You know, folks are gonna label me right now and put me in a box, but Ashley Moody is someone who actually stole $10 million from the most medically needy kids here in the state of Florida, and they allowed her to divert that funding so that they could defeat 2 ballot initiatives that would have helped improve the health of Floridians across the state. And her reward for that theft was her appointment to this United States Senate seat. Not only that, but Ashley Moody is just someone who does not speak with folks. She runs away from folks. I've had to answer many calls and respond to many emails that she just did not return to constituents that were in need of assistance. She also voted against the ACA subsidies, which caused nearly 300,000 people here in the state of Florida
Sorry about that, chat.
to drop off the rolls,
in your
the ACA marketplace, and it caused our private insurance premiums to go up as well. Ashley Moody is someone who cannot be trusted. She's simply a rubber stamp for Donald Trump. She does any and everything that he says to do, and it's just ridiculous. We need to send people to Washington, D.C. who are going to stand up and push back against Donald Trump, people who are actually going to work hard to ensure they are lowering the cost and ending the corruption and the chaos that's in D.C.
And Angie Nixon, you ran on an affordability platform. Talk about your policy priorities if you do win the election in November. What is the message you'll be taking to the Senate?
So when I win, because I like to speak things into existence, on day one, I'm going to file legislation to re-extend the ACA subsidies. Folks are going bankrupt simply because they are trying to stay alive. Medical debt is the leading cause of bankruptcy, and that's absolutely absurd. And then we're going to also push hardcore for universal health care. A recent Yale study came out that showed that the government would save $1 trillion if we pass universal health care. Also, it's going to be really important for us to address this housing issue. Right now here in the state of Florida, people who rent, they're paying over 18% the national average. People who have property insurance and they are homeowners, they're paying 300 times more than folks in other states. And that just totally has to change. The reason they're paying all this money is because Ashley Moody took a lot of money from insurance companies. She didn't rein them in when she was the Attorney General. And so they just, they help her out by contributing to her campaign coffers. And so I'm happy to let folks know that the only people that I'm beholden to are hardworking, everyday folks folks. I am someone who prides myself on being unbought and unbossed. Also, I am a mother of 5. Me and my husband have a blended family. I was a single mom for 12 years, and I understand how tough it is as it relates to childcare, right? I have a 5-year-old right now, and some parents are paying $800 to $2,400 a month simply to try to.
This is my statement on the Abdul thing. He didn't really say anything against Hassan. He didn't really say anything about Hassan. But my problem with it is, this is the stench of DC Democrat consultant advice. Nothing statement that pisses off both sides and legitimizes an enemy's bad faith attack. You can see Chuck Schumer's signature all over this. Not a fatal mistake, but if it can become one if he keeps it up. What I'm trying to say is, if somebody says, oh my God, Hassan Piker said this, just ignore that shit. Who gives a fuck? Putting out a statement, my statement on Hassan Piker's comments regarding Jeremy Moss, and then you don't even really say anything. Dumb as fuck. These are your enemies that are trying to get you defeated, bro. Like, stop legitimizing bad faith attacks. Hassan said nothing anti-Semitic. Move the fuck on.
Send their children to a child care facility. And so I support universal child care. I know that for every dollar we put into child care, we get $3 back in the economy because that allows parents to be able to work. That also allows our children to be diverted from the school to prison pipeline, which, you know, these for-profit prisons, these elected officials, these billionaires, they want our children to have an ill education, a ridiculous, a horrible education, right? Which is why they're defunding public schools, because they want to usher them into the school to prison pipeline. Why make sure that our children have a good quality education when they know they'll make more money off of them going to prison and exploiting their labor? And so these are some of the things that I'm really pushing for and want to see accomplished when I become the next United States Senator. I know there's a rumor going around saying that I want to abolish prisons. I don't. I want to abolish for-profit prisons. There's also a rumor going around saying that I want to defund the police. I don't want to defund the police. I want to defund flock cameras so that bad cops don't have the ability to stalk their ex-girlfriends or their ex-boyfriends. I want to make sure that we have a justice system that works for everyone, not just for the billionaires and co-conspirators of Jeffrey Epstein, who actually are treated more fairly than a single mom who got caught stealing formula to make sure that her child had food. And so these are things that need to really be worked on. We need to make sure that hardworking, everyday people get to shape what their communities look like and what their economies look like. And that's my mantra, that's my motto, and that's what I'm fighting for each and every day.
Angie Nixon, in May, you took part at a sit-in in Governor Ron DeSantis' office in protest of the redistricting bill, where you were arrested and now face a jury trial on trespassing charges in September. Talk about redistricting and how that affects the elections in November.
I mean, Donald Trump basically went to a lot of Republican governors and asked them to rig elections for him in the form of redrawing maps. And so we know that this was a partisan gerrymander because Ron DeSantis decided to release the maps to Fox News, and he did it when it was color-coded, and it showed and illustrated where blue seats, Democratic seats, would possibly be converted to Republican seats. And so that goes against our state constitution, and they illegally and unconstitutionally passed this bill. And so I decided to stand up for democracy and actually disrupt the proceedings because, again, what they were doing was illegal and unconstitutional, and it went against what the voters wanted. I know that the people should decide who their representatives are, right? The politicians should not be able to choose who their voters are. And what we're witnessing right now in conjunction with the gutting of the Voting Rights Act is Republican lawmakers in D.C. And all over these state legislatures, they are trying to return us back to the worst chapters of our history. And that is simply because they don't want us to have a say. They want the status quo. And I'm telling and making an appeal to everyone, right? Like right now, these politicians are working less and less and less. And meanwhile, they're getting richer. We are working harder than ever, and many of us are still struggling to stay afloat. They want us feeling hopeless. They want us to feel as though nothing can change, as though voting won't matter. But they're spending billions and billions of dollars, right, to suppress our right to vote. They're changing laws, making it harder for marginalized communities, for working families to go out and vote. And this is because they want to stay in power. They are so fearful of losing power, and they are fearful that many people are going to come into power, and they think that we're going to do to them what they've done to many of us for hundreds of years, but that's not the case. What happens when working families come into power, when everyday hardworking people become our state lawmakers, our federal lawmakers, we lead with love and humanity and dignity and compassion and respect. We want to make sure that no one experiences what we experienced as marginalized people. Again, I was a single mom, and I keep going back to this. I was a single mom for 12 years. I know what it's like to struggle. I don't want anyone to have to struggle the way in which I did, right? I know what happens. I am also proof positive of what happens when government does it right. I was a recipient of a workshop, a program in which I was able to gain down payment assistance because money trickled down from the feds, that trickled down to the state, that trickled down to the local government, that allowed me, a woman who had graduated from the University of Florida, that was working for the state but only making $28,000. They helped me pay my down payment. They helped me with down payment assistance as well as closing costs, right? And when I refinanced my home, I paid that back. But these are programs that Donald Trump cut under the big BS bill, programs that Ashley Moody does not want. And that's because they just want their campaign donors and their billionaire friends and family and themselves to get richer. I am ready for hardworking, everyday people to get bailed out. I'm ready for small business owners to get bailed out. We have to focus our efforts on lowering their costs and not these costs of these big.
Great reply, Mike. This does smell like the Dem Party forcing a statement. Yeah, this is DC consultant shit. I could smell it from a mile fucking away. I know I read it already, but like, this is the type of stuff the Democratic Party loves to do, which is like, so the Republicans are doing some sort of bad faith smear. It has 2,000 likes on Twitter. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody gives a shit about a 2,000 like tweet. Then Abdul makes a statement about a 2,000 like tweet. And now every single newsroom in the entire country can write a story about it. So congratulations, Abdul and Democrats. You have now fallen into this shit. You have fallen into this shit. Now they can make all these. Abdul El-Sayed refuses to renounce Hassan Piker. So now the volume is going to go up. Again, as I said, it's not a fatal mistake, but it will become a fatal mistake if it keeps up. Because what will happen is if he keeps making nothing statements, people and people keep reporting on it, then people are going to make more tweets about Hassan Piker. And he's going to have to make more nothing statements until eventually he will condemn Hassan Piker, in which case he'll look super weak. And then it'll be like, why'd you take so long? And then that'll be another story. And he won't be talking about anything he wants to talk about. Ignore this shit. Nobody fucking cares about Hassan Piker. Shut the fuck up. The DC consultants who are anxious about Hassan Piker are not normal. And again, it's really a test of his leadership. You know, obviously I support Abdul. I like the guy. I want him to win. But ultimately, if he falls for this, it is his fault. You know, if he loses because he falls for this type of shit, then that is kind of his fault. So ultimately, you know, what would I say? Talk about the fact that Mike Rogers is in California getting AIPAC donations right now. Stop letting Chuck Schumer manage your campaign into a ditch.
Operations. Over 88 companies last year made over $105 billion. They paid absolutely nothing in federal taxes. Meanwhile, I had a woman tell me she made $55,000 last year and she's on a payment plan with the IRS. Our system is broken, and I want to go to Washington, D.C. to help fix it.
Angie Nixon, final question. You joined the DSA recently in June. What is your relationship to the organization? If you win in November, you'd be the first DSA member in the Senate.
So you are exactly right. I just recently joined the DSA. I also just recently joined the Working Families Party. And my relationship is one that I just joined them because I saw that they were one of the organizations that was working the hardest to help ensure that people have universal health care. I'm talking to too many people who have loved ones that have died because they were underinsured or they didn't have any insurance. And so I am not an active member of DSA. I just paid a little bit of dues because as I paid dues with the Working Families Party, because I appreciate certain parts of their platform. Do I agree with all of it? No, I don't. And I don't agree with everything in the Democratic Party as well. And so I want folks to know they don't have to worry about me pushing some type of authoritarianism or any type of dictatorship. As a matter of fact, I have made it my life's mission to push back on any type of authoritarian and dictatorship, which is why I am so adamant about fighting back against Donald Trump and heading to DC. I want folks to know I am someone accessible, ethical, someone that they can trust. I'm willing to have conversations about any questions folks may have of me and my ideology. But if they look at my track record, they know that I always put people first, hardworking, everyday people first. And that is what I'm going to do when I become their next United States Senator.
Thanks for watching Democracy Now! On YouTube. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to make sure you never miss a video. And for more of our audience-supported journalism, go to democracynow.org, where you can download our news app, sign up for our newsletter, subscribe to the daily podcast, and so much more.
Oh, she's so cool. Angie Nixon, man. She is absolutely 100%. I want to get a poll in that race because I feel like she's got I don't know why, but I feel like she's probably going to be like tied or like within a point or two. I really just feel like Florida is an opportunity that people are quiet on right now. And I think it's actually probably closer to like like that. This is kind of where I'm at right now. If I'm being completely honest, I think Dan Osborne is a very strong candidate, but I have a hard time believing. I mean, I guess that's possible. I think this is probably where the races are right now. Maybe like that. Oh, wait, hold on. How is everything me? My life is better every year. You know what I mean? Like, if you guys understood the amount of people that have arrogantly chattered at me over the years, like if I put together a list of every single content creator who acted arrogantly toward me and was utterly defeated and is now totally irrelevant and forgotten, and I put it into a list, it would be very funny to go back and do that. How many people do you think it is? It's got to be in the hundreds. AOC endorsing and campaigning with Angie would help both out. AOC could help with the massive PR enclave in Florida. She needs to build inroads in the South. I think AOC would join in later. We need to see some like actual numbers from Angie, which she could build up from Bernie. What Angie needs right now is the Bernie crat, not independent, to flock to her. That would help her the most. Alaska is a toss-up. Maybe we could do light blue. I still think toss-up is probably fair. If I am being honest, this is how I feel this is what I think the reasonable beliefs are, and this is what I think will happen. I just don't believe in James Talrico. I think Talrico, God, It's like, what's the power of a Pete Buttigieg? Taurico is a more gregarious Pete, a slightly more gregarious Pete. It's like, what's the ceiling? Could he do it? If we woke up on election day and we saw this, I would not be surprised. I think this is possible. I honest to God think this is possible. I think this is actually possible. I'm not capping right now. I really do. I do think Montana, though, has started to maybe slip back towards the Republicans. I think Montana might not be winnable. Like, maybe it used to be winnable in the past, but maybe not now. Too many Richies have moved there. Yeah, see? Montana is just, I just don't. It's got like so many like rich billionaire types, like right wing. It's like where a lot of the right wing tech bros have moved to Billings and into Jackson Hole, rather. A lot of like LARPer cowboys. Why do I have faith in Ohio? The numbers. The numbers are bad for Trump. Real bad. I don't think people have really like reckoned with just how unpopular Donald Trump is. Like, Donald Trump is like massively fucking unpopular. I think people are still kind of like beginning of this year unpopular, right? Beginning of this year, he was at 50-45. Now he's at 55-38. Do you understand like how unpopular that is? And again, this is Ohio, not nationally. Ohio is the bottom has fallen off. Basically, everybody who's not a chud hates Donald Trump. 62% of Ohio independents hate his ass. He's unpopular with white people. -6 with white people in Ohio. He's fucking cooked. You understand? If white people do not like you and you're a Republican, you're fucking cooked. Look at that millennial. Look at the Gen Z and millennial numbers, dude. I mean, it's catastrophic. He's barely winning boomers. 51% with boomers? Yo, the turnout for Republicans is going to be horrible. Vivek got booed off stage at Xavier University, young conservative son. They're fucking cooked. Do you think it will continue to go down before the election or flatline? When we look at George W. Bush approval, when you really look at it, I mean, it dipped below 30%. That's really the floor that I'm looking at. Like, he got at 29% approved, 25% approval. You look at this chart, 25% approved, 70% disapprove. I feel like somewhere in that range is probably the very bottom of where Trump's going to end up. And that was during the Iraq War and the Great Recession happening at the same time. Donald Trump right now is at 35% approved. So that's pretty roughly where George W. Bush was at the end of 2007. I have a January, February 2007. This motherfucker is unpopular, man. Like, people do not like Donald Trump. National right now on 59% disapprove, 35% approve. God damn, that's bad. And just so you know, the economy has not crashed. You know, oil hasn't hit $100 a barrel yet. They're bailing out bonds right now. They promised to spend $1 trillion on bonds. I don't know if you guys saw that. Try to keep interest rates down. And it really didn't work that well, to be honest with you. Are we almost out of oil? Yes. They've bungled us into a war in Iran. They have failed. The economy is shit. They have no plans. What are they going to, like, what's going to get better? What's going to make people suddenly decide they like Donald Trump? Spin some scenarios for me, chat. What are people going to love about Donald Trump and go, you know what? I want to keep the Republicans in power. What could happen? They love his racism. They're bored of it. The anti-trans shit, the racism, it's boring. Nobody gives a fuck. That's why Abdul El-Sayed, the only way he loses is if he allows himself to get drawn into these fights over Hasan Piker and is not talking about real shit. Hasan Piker was there for him when he needed him to get him in office. Talk about your issues. I want to criticize Cassie here for a second. Cassie said, Liberals' reluctance to tackle other big challenges is evidence of their intellectual exhaustion, and voters penalize them for it. So growth-obsessed liberals often develop feelings of indifference and disdain toward democracy itself. Voters, they conclude, just don't know what's good for them. Yes, because they are authoritarian capitalists who are benefiting from the status quo, and they don't care about liberalism because liberalism has been dead since 1976. Neoliberalism supplanted liberalism. What you're talking about as an intellectual tradition has been dead for 50 fucking years. All right? There is no liberalism. There is only neoliberalism, which is what? The belief that markets are superior and it is the government's job to ensure markets enter every part of human life. That's the only thing they care about, establishing and protecting market mechanisms. They have no other beliefs. Anything that takes things out of the market is antithetical to them. So they don't have any other systems. They have no other way of doing anything. All they can do is supply side or demand subsidy, supply side tax cuts or demand subsidizations. They cannot do anything else. Liberalism, as you understand it, has not existed for 50 fucking years. You're talking about a dead ideology. There are no more liberals. And when I'm talking about liberals, I'm talking about Hubert Humphrey, LBJ, FDR, even some of Harry Truman. That tradition, the Keynesian tradition, is long dead. It has not been revived. I know people talked about Joe Biden ending neoliberalism. He did not. Go look at his policies. They're all the same neoliberal dreck that Obama did. Let's do a tax credit. Let's do a tax credit, guys. Let's cut red tape. There is no liberalism. There is no state capacity. There is no government-owned enterprise. There is no price controls. There are no, government-owned enterprises of any kind. He is not doing New Deal shit. He's doing Richard Nixon shit. Although, actually, he's not even doing Richard Nixon shit. He's doing Ronald Reagan-esque shit. Liberalism has been long dead. And if you don't understand what I'm talking about, probably shouldn't be talking about or analyzing politics. This is the reality. Liberalism feels exhausted because it's a rotting corpse. All the problems we have today are the result of neoliberal politic and neoliberal political economy. And they cannot be fixed through neoliberal means. Hey, I'll say that again. The problems we have today cannot be fixed through neoliberal means. It is impossible. There are no post-Keynesians. There are no neo-Keynesians. There are no attempts to actually do New Deal. That's called the Green New Deal. If you want that shit, you vote for AOC and Bernie Sanders and Abdul El-Sayed, and you vote for the left flank of America, and they're barely reviving it. They have a lot of tax credits too. Well, chat, it's noon. I'm tired as fuck. How about you guys? Oh, yeah, I wanted to talk to you guys about this. The fucking BQE. Zoran made this announcement this morning.
I'm standing under the Brooklyn-Queens Expressway. It's nearly 70 years old, and it's long past its shelf life. While it's still safe to drive on, for now, we can't wait any longer. We're done kicking the can down the road. That's why we're announcing a plan to repair the city-owned section of the BQE, known as BQE Central. Before we talk about how we're fixing the BQE, let's talk about how we got here. The BQE was built by New York's most famous, or infamous, urban planner, Robert Moses. It was part of his grand vision of building highways across New York City for a population that more and more wanted to drive their own cars. But Robert Moses is another video entirely. When he finished the BQE Central in 1954, it was only designed to handle around 50,000 car trips a day and last for 50 years. But here we are, 70 years later, with more than 130,000 vehicles driving on it daily, including 13,000 heavy trucks. You do the math. This isn't a new problem. For decades, prior administrations have been trying to figure out a way to address the urgently needed repairs of the BQE.
Mayor de Blasio has formed a new panel to evaluate options to replace the BQE. Mayor Adams unveiling a new vision for a reimagined Brooklyn-Queens Expressway.
Every year we don't do something about the BQE, it costs the city $160 million. But all we have to show for it is this. So here's the plan. We're going to repair the 1.5 miles of BQE Central, which is the only part of the highway actually controlled by the city.
All right, here's something that I'm going to say something, chat. I think it's a mistake. I think Zoran is wrong. And if you're asking why, look at how it goes along waterfront. Look at where the expressway is routed. I'm sorry, but the idea that highways should be looking over the water is fucking crazy. Get rid of the whole fucking thing. If I had a magic wand, I'd say get rid of the whole fucking thing. And for people that are like, no, Mike, that we need it for traffic. No, you fucking don't. Trust me, you don't. And it's funny to call it an expressway when the average travel speed is like 10 miles an hour.
We'll fix the aging concrete and triple cantilever section that's most in need of repair. We'll build a temporary road for traffic, which avoids sending tens of thousands of cars and trucks into local streets and keeps the highway operable during construction. This will extend the life of the BQE for another 40 years. This plan allows us to safely fix the current problem without slowing our city down and wasting decades more waiting while the BQE continues to get worse. This won't be easy, won't be quick, but we're done waiting on one of the city's most severe infrastructure issues. Let's get to work.
Listen, I understand why Zoran is doing it. It is the way the infrastructure is, and obviously you don't want to wait for it to collapse. I think that would be a pretty big L if it collapsed while he was mayor. So I don't think you can kick the can anymore. It's obviously unsafe. Thanks. But Robert Moses, the BQE, sucks ass, dude.
Brooklyn Heights Promenade, which is the best view of Lower Manhattan, except for the fact that you're constantly breathing in the pollution from the freeway and hearing this loud car noise, suffocating us, ruining the experience. The good news is that this freeway that was built by Robert Moses, Lanatullah Alayh, is crumbling under the weight of the cars because it cannot support itself anymore. And just like when the West Side Highway collapsed, we didn't rebuild it, we just got rid of it. You need to not rebuild the BQE. I saw that you put up a job listing to have an advisor. The advisor should tell you, or maybe you should hire me as your advisor, to just demolish this thing. Like we demolished the West Side Highway and we were totally fine. This is how neighborhoods are killed. This is segregation by design. This is reducing lifespans of kids who play in these streets. You need to demolish this, Mamdani, if you're serious about making New York better. Mamdani, this is the Brooklyn Heights Promenade.
I mean, I personally think that is a good point. I think demolishing it at all, developing dense social housing that's connected via public transit to the rest of the city would be far fucking better than the BQE. That's personally how I feel. And I get it. It's hard to imagine a city rebuilt in a different way. I got married at the Brooklyn Heights Promenade. Oh, nice.
Mamdani is making a massive mistake. I woke up to the news that he is going to rebuild Americans.
I figured he posted something about it. That's why I checked.
Making a massive mistake. I woke up to the news that he is going to rebuild the Brooklyn Queens Expressway, the much hated Robert Moses project that rammed through North Brooklyn, segregation by design as it's called, ruining the popular promenade where everyone goes to see the Brooklyn Bridge, the Manhattan Bridge, the Lower Manhattan skyline. It's one of the best tourist destinations in this city for locals and out-of-towners. And yet that freeway, which ruins it, which pollutes it, which threatens its stability as a neighborhood, is going to be rebuilt by Mr. Mayor. Thank you so much. He said in his own video, in his own words, I encourage you to watch it, that it will extend its lifespan by 50 years. He and I are about the same age, which means that when we're dead or dying, that freeway will still be there. I was hoping that because it was going to imminently collapse, that they would turn it into at least a surface freeway, like they did with the West Side Highway. When that collapsed, it had an elevated portion. They made it a surface freeway. They didn't rebuild the collapsed part. So it runs along the ground where it collapsed. And then eventually, hopefully, we can ameliorate that situation. I'm a gradualist, by the way. I'm not an extremist. I don't believe we should demolish all the freeways tomorrow and ban all the cars tomorrow. I believe we should wait for the elevated portion to collapse, make it a surface street, and then finally focus on rerouting that surface street away from our waterfront. Our waterfront should not be a place for freeways.
I agree with this. I think, I don't know about the collapse part. I think that's a bad idea, but waterfront should not be where highways go. That's fucking crazy.
Cars. It should be a place for swimming, for people, for activities. Why are you doing this? You have a popular mandate. You're the urbanist mayor, the pro-transit mayor. You're building bike lanes and bus lanes everywhere. That's great. So then why are you rebuilding a freeway in 2026? It's not 1956. Those were mistakes of 70 years ago. Those were affectations of segregation and Jim Crow and classism. We should be moving past that. We want a city of the future that's climate proof, that's walkable. Why would you do this? No one's forcing you. You can just pass the buck off. If you don't want to deal with it, just let the next mayor at least take this burden. If you don't have the guts to demolish it, which is what you should do, then don't do anything. Why are you extending its life by 50 years? Why am I even bothering advocating, honestly? A bike lane is paint. A bus lane is a few pieces of concrete. If we can't get the major things right, which is to not rebuild a freeway that is segregation by design in 2026, then what are we even doing here? Mamdani is making a...
Man, this is a tough one. This is a tough one. I think that anytime someone advises you to let something collapse, that's a terrible piece of advice. But everything else I fundamentally agree with, which is we've got to be serious, right? We've got to be serious about reimagining our cities. And we can make incredible progress if we put our minds to it and we commit to it. So I don't know. I hate the legacy of Robert Moses. I want to see it change. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for all the support. Thank you for hanging out with me today. Make sure you go check out all my links. The newest reaction podcast is up. Hit that subscribe button. Means a lot. And last but certainly not least, I'm sending you guys over to Vio, who is having a conversation with some of the stuff we talked about earlier. You know, the fallout of the latest attempt to try to deplatform and damage my reputation for not wanting to work with Gremlo or whatever the fuck, and the various misogynist attacks that Vio has dealt with. Okay. Thank you guys, gals, hanging out for me today. Yeah, say hi to Vio for me. Learn more about what's going down, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Solidarity forever. I'll see you soon. Peace.